All right. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Welcome to our VIP ladies who said yes. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We've got our first VIP call on this Friday, so I don't want you to forget. Um, and welcome to all of you. Thank you for those of you who have been engaging in the WhatsApp group. I'm so enjoying coming in and talking to you every day during this challenge. It's so fun. It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure. And I'm really excited about what we're going to be talking about here today. I've been planning a lot for this call. And so what I want to start with, we're going to get into all kinds of things. All right, it's going to be a really deep full call today. I've also got a surprise for you on the call today. And but what I would love to hear first, right? Because this is how we do it, right? We do the like button getting engaged. We're going to lean into the chat, right? We're going to be like, I want to invite us all to the power of leaning in, right? It deepens our growth. It signals to life we're ready to evolve and expand. It's way more fun than being half in, half out. And I want us to get into and really reap everything that we can from this experience here today. So I would love to hear if you would put in the chat, what is something from last week's call, which was so epic, and the feedback has been so incredible and touching. Something from last week's call, or what you've been experiencing this week since last week's call in your work and spreading your message in your sales. Maybe something that you heard me share perhaps in the WhatsApp group. What is some insight that you've had? What are you seeing for yourself? What is what's happening for you? What's opening for you? What's a new possibility that you're seeing from based on the conversation that we're having here? And how is that changing things for you? Let's lean in for a moment and I want to hear from you. I really genuinely want to hear from you. When we're in community and we're naming insights, we're in transformation in real time together. And we're speaking what's alive for us in the moment in real time. It really makes a huge difference energetically. We all get to evolve and expand more. That's the power of being in a community of people who are seeking to expand together, right? It's so valuable. And when we share our insights and our wisdom, it up levels, it helps it to integrate, to be witnessed, to be seen, to raise the vibe, the vibration, the energy. So let's see what's coming in here. I'm seeing lots of beautiful things ready here. Connecting sales to my work as part of my work, which is illuminating and very exciting because I love my work. That's so great, Denise. Karen, the ability to trust myself and to really create my own reality. Mhm. Yes, yes. Marion, coming from turned on resonates very well synergistic with my 3.0 success new way forward. Amazing. Love you're doing such expansive new paradigm work. Um, the culture of women coming together in truth to truth and trust to trust. We honor the truth of the other person, knowing what is best for them. Yes, 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 yes. The reminder of the potency of getting high off your vision. Yes, getting high off your vision. That's really it. That's really it. I'm opening a brick and mortar space that has timelines outside of my control, and this was super helpful. Oh, it's so beautiful. That's so true because this is life. This is life. There are things that happen that we can't control. There are challenges that are going to come our way that are exactly what we need to help us evolve into the person we're destined to become. But we can really fuel this path, right? And give it fuel and be in creation by leaning into our vision and plugging in, right? Really plugging in energetically. That's super beautiful. I'm happy to hear that. All right, these are just really beautiful. Yeah, that it doesn't have to be work. I love that. Alia, rooting into my vision every day and taking action there feels so good. And I got clarity on my next offer. Yay. I love hearing that. All right. I sold books at a book signing scare that no one would buy. And I sold those suckers and I went all in. Barbara, let's give Barbara a round. I love that. That's how it is. That's how it is. When you're someone like we are in this community, what you're playing in is the realm of the unknown. That's the magic. You don't get the magic without the unknown, right? You got all the known, right? No magic. but it's our ability to lean into the vision, to plug in, to keep holding it. That's the self leadership. And that's what is so deeply magnetizing and attracting. But we have to practice that self leadership to guide us through all the discomfort of being in the unknown, right? Doing it in that practice inside ourselves, being in community with others who are doing the same thing. We can't help but strengthen that muscle of the bravery, of the trust, right? Of the leadership. And that's the power. That's the power. So beautiful. All right, ladies, this is, and gentlemen, I know we've also got, I think, a couple of men here on this call. Welcome. So this is wonderful. I'm going to have to go through and like read all these because I love seeing all these updates here. Awesome. Yay for the husbands being here. Yay. Hey, John. Welcome, John. So happy you're here, friend. All right. So I'm so thrilled to hear about the breakthroughs, right? And today is a big day. So I want to invite you to make sure you have pen and paper ready because I imagine you're going to want to take some notes today. All right. It's school. We're at school now. As a matter of fact, I'm going to get my t shirt glasses on now for you. Here we go, students. All right. So today, today I'm going to teach you the turned on sales method. And I just think you're going to love it. I think you're going to love it. I really do. It's really changed my life. It's really, like, I feel emotional just saying that. It's really changed my life. Um, I think for a lot of us, um, it's very common for us to, feel some level of contraction where something doesn't feel true for us or doesn't feel good because we can sense and smell things. Blech. And we talked last week about contracted sales. We talked about neutral sales. And then there's the realm of turned on sales. Right? And what I'm going to teach you today is actually really the final piece in the pathway that creates turned on sales. And we're going to talk more about that. But there are the things that you put these other pieces in place, you practice these other things, and they lead to this state of turned on sales where the sale becomes so much easier and it feels so good. All right, so we're going to be doing that today. And this is going to support you, like we're going to be modeling it through a one on one sales conversation. But it applies, the same principles really apply whether you're speaking to a group, right? Or doing an event online like this one, or speaking from stage, same principles, right? But we're going to be modeling this through a one-on-one conversation, right? So this is my hope is that this gives you just so much greater freedom to just really admit it. You love selling and making money. It feels great. It's okay to love it. It's good. It's a blessing. We need more rich, wise women in this world. And my stand is for all of you to be rich, wise women. You're all wise women. We already got that, right? But I want to see you all just go so just limitless, unbounded in the impact of the wisdom and the message that's inside of you, right? And for the men that are here too, right? Rich, wise men. Goodness, we need a lot more of those, right? And that you are able to create the kind of money, like you turn around in your life and you look at your life and it's so fulfilling. There's such a deep sense of pride that you have because your life is so provided for on such an amazing level by your wisdom, by your work. And that is an amazing feeling. And that you don't just stop there, that you really explore new bounds of impact and reach and financial growth, right? That you continue on this journey of evolution in what you're doing and with your work and the money that you're making. Because, wow, really resourced women and men of wisdom, gosh, those are the people that we need investing in all kinds of things in our society to help us align our society with values that are rooted in so many of the things that I know we all care about here: sanity, health, love, community, connection, right? So that is what I really want for you is so much more satisfaction, so much more financial delight and freedom and ability to enjoy your life on just amazing levels, right? And to be able to experience the love and the intimacy and the transformative moments that your wisdom creates with people over and over on incredible stages. Like that's what this is really all dedicated to. Why we do turned on sales. And oh, and I just want you to have so much fun. Right? Like we can do this all and have it feel really good. Like to the slog, right? Meh. Like we have the power, the ability to have this be sourced from a place that is so generative and vital and feels so good, right? So that's what I'm going to stand for. So today I'm also going to sell to you, right? I'm going to sell to you today, right? And I know some of you, I see someone like, yeah. And some of you are like, ugh, it's okay. It's all welcome here. It's all welcome, right? And I know some of you have been waiting to see, like, how am I going to sell? How do I sell? So you get to see that. And some of you, I've actually been getting emails from people asking how can we work with you? What are the options, private or group or different questions. So I know that there is some people who are excited to know what's in the mix of possibilities here to support you. And if you've been feeling like any curiosity or a sense of possibility of what would be possible coming into this deeper container of the community that I create, of the unique methods that I have that have just helped so many women for so many years to really become like legends in their spaces and in their industries. Like, if there's any curiosity that you're feeling about any of this, my commitment today, like my promise to you today, is that I want to support you in like ending up being a full yes, you know, to coming into my world, to letting me support you, my team support you, bringing out your brilliance, helping you become like even more epic, rich, wise woman, right? Because that's my job. That's I better have that commitment and that promise, right? Because that's my job. It's what I'm here to do at this time in my life. And I love doing it. I love doing it. And I also know that every single person here, right? And this is what also gives me so much freedom to sit here and to tell you I'm going to sell to you and just feel so great about it is that I know everybody here is a sovereign person who runs things through the filter of what's true for you. So I know and trust that you will make aligned, true choices for you, right? And I'm going to lean in and do my best job possible to help show you a way that you can truly fulfill that deep calling to really be epic in sharing your message and touching and impacting lives and really shifting culture with your work and making amazing money doing it, right? So, we today are going to dive in and do such incredible work together. What I want to say is that we are going to have a special guest in just a little bit, like short special guest, someone who I am really excited for you to meet. That I actually contacted this person a week ago and I was like, look, can you come in and just tell your story to these people that are in my program in the Turned On Sales Challenge? Because I think when they hear about you, it's going to really open something for them in the realm of possibility. She's an incredibly powerful and inspiring person. So I'm excited for her. She'll be on here shortly. So, um, so this is really what we're going to be diving into here today. All right. So the first thing is when we before we get into learning this sales process, all right, of doing the turned on method, what I want to reiterate is that so much of what makes sales feel so good and be so easy, right? What really eases the sale, right? Is are just some pieces in this pathway. The first is that when we get really aligned, right? Really aligned. Thanks, John. That's awesome. Thank you. That's so cool. All right. So it's when we get really aligned. We get really aligned on the calling, the vision, and the message that comes from that alignment. If you listened in my to one of my messages this week, I think it was my like epically 20 something minute long message from Saturday. I left two of those this week and it was like a whole mini masterclass. Mm. Or maybe it was the next one, but I talked about one of my clients and also a longtime friend, Sarah Jenks, and the power of going through these processes where you get this urge and the desire to create, and you have creative energy and you bring it out, and you're serving in that capacity for some time. And while you're serving, and maybe a few years go by and you're doing this work, you're changing, you're evolving, right? And all of a sudden, maybe the work doesn't feel like as juicy for you anymore, doesn't feel as fun anymore. Also, sometimes running a business can have its ups and downs, and there's all the things. But that's part of our job as the visionary and the leader, is to keep plugging in, right? And in her case, right, she had to get really honest about, wow, there was something else that was emerging inside of her. So she went through a process of transformation. And I've worked with her on her messaging to support her in some of the these time periods. But for her, one of the initial ones, like several years ago, is like it was a complete shift from like a whole body of work that she was doing to a whole new body of work, and it was really scary. Her family depended on her income. There was a lot of uncertainty. She felt like she couldn't afford anymore to be spending her time doing something, and her energy that just was starting to feel like a slog because it wasn't where her joy was and where all the wisdom, the fount of wisdom, was coming from. So she let herself reinvent, and she created this organization called Whole Woman, right? Whole Woman. Beautiful, beautiful organization. And supporting women and really embracing their wholeness and the relationship to all aspects of their life from this place. And she just really had an amazing time with her messaging, and she's always been somebody who's really just like generous with her message. She did that for a while, and then she went through a season where it was like she really really had something else burning in her, but she kept pushing it down because she didn't feel she was ready. She didn't feel like it was time. There was a lot of self-doubt. Also, she had this whole other thing that she'd created, and she had just done this reinvention a few years before. It was like, is she really going to do this again? Yeah, I'm talking about Sarah Jenks. And so then and you guys can check her out on Instagram as well. So then she had to get really honest with herself, because honestly, it made her sick. Like, she got really sick, and she had to take a really honest look at her life and realize she was not living in her deepest truth. She was not living where there was the greatest vitality and joy and freedom. She wasn't living in her purpose really anymore. And so, in that sense, it wasn't about reposition. It wasn't like she had to burn the whole thing down. It was, she evolved the message, and she took the community with her. And all this community then came into her new body of work called Holy Woman. And Holy Woman, I mean, what the minute she allowed herself to do it, she exploded. I mean, her following exploded, her work exploded, and within a short period of time, all from organic art marketing, she was making 2 million recurring revenue in this community, Holy Woman, and has just gone gangbusters with it. Well, she's gone through another season of reinvention again, and it's still the same people that are coming with her, but she's realigning and really great about looking at what is it that maybe isn't have the life force anymore, and where is the life force now, right? So many of my clients go through this. I go through this. You've been in my community. You've watched me go through this. We have to keep honestly assessing where is the life force, and giving ourselves the opportunity to let ourselves and our work evolve. And it doesn't mean we have to burn the whole thing down, but it does mean that we need to walk around with a lot of pride in what we're doing. And when we walk around owning that value and we are aligned, we are plugged into that source of turn on and aliveness. Oh my gosh, it is like you access this wellspring of wisdom. You access the deepest reservoirs of the flow of the river of intelligence inside of you, right? So, this is what, for all of us, if you're wondering, how do I make the sales easier? One of the first most important places to look on our pathway is getting aligned, right? Getting aligned. And then from that place, clarifying your message, right? So, going out and sharing what it is that you're a stand for, what you see as possible, the ideas that you have that help us get there, right? And in many ways, going beyond having a message to having a movement, creating a movement where you are taking people with you. You're a stand for people, right? Your community, the people you're serving, right? You're taking us with you. It's a completely different vibe. People want to be part of a movement, right? Be part of something that is bigger than them, that is calling them forward. When you have that and you develop that, level of you start kind of leave this realm of being like a communicator or thought leader or speaker, and we enter into the realm of like being a legend, right? You are really leaving an impact. It's going to last. You're making your part. It's going to last beyond your lifetime, right? This is a really big, juicy, important piece. And when we are out there sharing our message and start to become known for our works, when people think of us, they think of what we stand for, right? That we're a leader in this, we're a stand for this, right? We're a visionary in this realm. Then we start to enter into the realm where people begin to look at us and they're like, that's the person I need to work with. That's the one. That's the person. And you enter into this place where there's this common term that's kind of going around right now in the yeah, I don't know, internet marketing sphere of like they call it category of one. Category of one. You were the only one. It's because you're so fully you. You're so fully you, and you so own the value of the message that you have and the unique way that you're helping people to create transformation in their work through your services, your offers, your products, right? This is that energy. And when we begin to really embody that and own that, you have the experience of people being like, I have to work with that person. Have to. So I'll give you a quick example of this. So back in 2012, and some of you heard me talk about this um, back in last week or the week before, where I was talking about my TEDx talk, the one that I felt so embarrassed about, so embarrassed about, oh God, oh, oh. I wanted to hide under a cover. If you didn't hear me talk about that, you can go listen to that recording. Anyways, I've given two TEDx talks, and the one that I gave at TEDx Women, I even though there were aspects that I wish it would be different, in so many ways it worked because it was so clear what I stood for, what I believed, and sharing the unique way that I bring forward my work, right? The unique way that I do it. And that's partly what you want to really identify for yourself. Like, it's like, what are you a stand for? What's the idea that you really stand for, the vision you have, the future reality that your work is committed to creating? What's the unique way and method that you do it? And in my talk, I talked about those things. And sure enough, afterwards, I had two women come up to me. I had no idea at the time who they were, but I found out very quickly. One of them was Barbara Stanny. If you don't know Barbara Stanny, she's like a legend. She is a legend. She's one of the like foremost incredible thought leaders in women and money. She's written many books, and she was an incredible speaker, teacher. She was still terrified of speaking. And she came up to me. She was like, you, you're my coach. And she hired me. I went on to work with her for years and help her with her speaking and also in writing her talk for her one of her most successful books called Sacred Success. And she went off and her work just like in that whole experience with that book and that message, right? That was so amazing. And the other woman that came up to me also came to me that same day. She was like, I need to work with you. You are the one. And it was the most beautiful woman. Her name is Christine Carlson, who went on to be my client for years. And Christine is oh man, she is like she and her husband are the founders of the Don't Sweat the Small Stuff books, the best selling self help book in history. They have many books. She is a legend. She is a true legend. But she was reinventing her message after her husband suddenly died and about grief and heartbreak and the wisdom and power of it. And so she hired me to support her in birthing that message, which changed me as a person. Right. And so there are times where when we have a message and a an ownership of the value of what we're doing and we're so aligned, right? We are so aligned with this work that there are people who won't even need an effing sales call. And that is very turned on sales, right? That is so great. Don't we love that? People who they trust their feeling sense, right? But people can't get a feeling sense of being drawn to working with you if you're not out there being in your stand, being in your frequency, practicing that self leadership, showing up, meeting all the things that happen, but continuing to show up in the fullness of your vision and what it means to you, right? And your stand and being generous with your message. That is how we have people who can recognize us as you are the one that I need to work with. Right. So sometimes those people don't even really need to get on a sale. They just need the info. They just need, okay, what are the options and like how much is it? And like, okay, yeah, the painful or payment plan, we work it out. Those are great. But then you have people who really need to be walked through that process. They might be a little bit more logical, right? They need to feel things out. Maybe they're looking at different options, right? And so the turned on sales method is a wonderful then process that we get to, right, where we can support them. Now, the one thing I will say I just forgot is that like in between that, is we got to have, it's like we make it so easy when we have pathways for people to come to us, right? The technical term is like leads, funnel leads. That's how we talk about it in the space, funnel leads. I got a lot of funnels and lead generation things that go on. When we create those in a way that feels really good for you and that really harnesses your gifts, right? Especially when you're doing the work of speaking and being an epic storyteller and utilizing these gifts, there are ways to do that. These are some of the ways that I work. We're going to get too deep into this. We're going to talk some about this next week. All right. So bookmark that. These are some of the things that we work with women on my higher level programs is helping to develop what is this pathway for people to come into you, right? To get to know your work, to develop that trust in a marketplace. There's so many voices now. How do we create trust? How do we create trust and belief in the power, the transformative power of our work in a short period of time? Because that's what people need in order to be a yes, right? To be like to have a successful sale with someone, that is what is needed. And so we want to create those pathways, but in a way that's in such alignment for you, right? I tried many things in my work over the years. And when I finally found this one way that it was just so genius. It was me. It really leaned on my powers of storytelling, and I'll share more about what this is next week when we speak. So again, that's just to bookmark that. But when I found this way, it was like, it was like just the flow of people coming in. They already felt they so knew me, they trusted me, they wanted more from my work, and it made sales so easy. Right. So that's the next piece. And then we get to the actual conversation, right? The one-on-one conversation or the live one-to-many event that we do, where we then have this turned on sales conversation that we're going to be learning today. And by the time we get to that place, when we have these pieces in place, it is so easy, right? It just is, it flows from such a place. And especially when you're doing the work to be plugged into the value of what your work is about and what it makes possible. Right? When we do the inner responsibility to unplug from our scarcity or need from control and plug into the field of trust, trust of the work, trust of the person that you're speaking to, making the most aligned decision for them, then you can have so much fun, so much fun. And ultimately, that is what is actually most magnetizing and attractive, right? For people to come, someone who's in their joy of what they do, right? And in their joy of serving them. So we are going to get deep into this. I want to set the pathway in the context. And now I want to introduce you to somebody who is so special, such a special woman. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to introduce you to this person. I'm going to do a short intro and then I'm going to bring her up here. So, this woman, she's going to tell her story. All right. So, I'm not going to get too into it, but I just want to say I've been so blessed to work with like thousands of women for the last decade and a half. And every once in a while you have someone come in and it's like, and I mean, there are epically special women that come in all the time in my work who all center in their wisdom. But I will never forget when this woman came in, I was just like, oh, wow, wow. You know, she has such a deep, deep radiance. And her voice is so epic. Ah, in her speaking and her writing, I mean, she just moves people. And like you can drop a pin and everybody is just like this every time in her presence. She's such a gift. So her journey is really extraordinary. And I've asked her to come and share a bit about her journey because I think it will provide some deeper context for some of the things that we have been talking about this last week. And she is also someone who I know who has so much self leadership. She takes full responsibility every single day to plug in to this inner knowing so deeply. And it is such a superpower for her. And she's so genius when she talks about it. So I've asked her to come and introduce herself. I would love to welcome Kiara Brinton. And I got to find you here in the thing. Hang on. Luckily, it is alphabetized. No,
Here, does
it's
that help if I speak? Do you see me pop up?
Let me see. Let me see. Give me a second. No. Where is it? Search. Oh, search. I can search for a participant. There
Perfect.
you are. All right. Add spotlight.
Oh, Casey, thank you
Oh,
so much.
so
Thank you.
good to see you.
It made me
So
cry.
good to see
I
you.
miss you. It's been so long.
It has been.
It's been a while. It's so good to be back in your energy and just, I love being in your energy. So thank you for having me.
Oh, the feeling is mutual, and it has been a joy watching you.
Yeah.
Oh
Ah,
my gosh. So tell us, I would love if you would tell us a bit about
yeah.
um, really like when I met you, life was very different for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think we should start there. I think that's a good spot. So, my name is Kiera Brenton, and I'm not even going to tell you what I do at first. I really feel like it's better to start where we were, which is a stay-at-home mom of 5 kids. I was a massage therapist, and I had a dark night of the soul, like many of us do, and I had almost committed suicide, and I felt a deep presence, divine presence, one that I'd call God, show up and tell me I had work to do and that I needed to stay. And so I made this very deep covenant that I would do everything that God asked me to do. And that changed my life. And that led me into writing my first book. This was February 2017. And I began this journey of hearing, of listening. And it was the summer, was it just a few months later? I think it no, it was 2018 that I woke up one morning and I heard God say, early bird. And I was like, what does this even mean? And I get into my emails and there's an email from Casey Baker and I don't know how I got on her list, but I did. And she had the phrase that said early bird. And I knew that meant I was supposed to do it. And so I opened up the email and it was a 3-day women speak in Sedona. I lived in Arizona at the time. So I just said, fine. I just got my very first credit card and I was like, I am paying for this and I am going. And I mean, like, I had like nothing, guys. I didn't have a business, I didn't have anything. I just had this half written manuscript that was going to be published a few months later. And I remember going and just when Casey walks in a room, the whole room moves, like if you've ever been in her energy, like everybody moves, like her energy just, she's so powerful. And I remember being like, who is this woman? And I just fell in love with the way she taught. It felt so at home for me. It felt like I knew her. It was just something so powerful in my body. But I'll never forget after she taught us how to give a talk, create a talk, write a speech. We all had to stand in this small yoga room and speak what we had been creating. And I remember everybody else had gone, and everyone got claps. And for the first time in my life, I'd never spoken in front of anybody. And I spoke my speech I wrote in the bathtub the night before. And I remember the room got quiet. And I was like, oh shit, like I think I fucked this up. And then she just stands up and throws her notebook on the ground and she looks at me and she says, don't you ever fucking stop doing this. It was like the first time I'd ever seen myself. I've been just birthing babies, which is my favorite thing. I love being a mother. But it was like the first time I saw Kiera and I knew like I had something. I was like, shit, like I have something. What is this? And so I took out 5 credit cards to be in her mastermind. We were on food stamps. Okay. It wasn't like life was working. All right. I took out 5 credit cards to be in her mastermind. And I'll tell you, investing in myself was the beginning of my journey. And so much has happened from that mastermind, but the greatest part is that I fucking saw myself. And I'm like pretty remarkable. And I had never seen that. And I remember before I was in her mastermind, I started to do like Instagram lives. I don't think Instagram was even a thing back then, Facebook lives. And I used to like rock the whole time. I lick my lips. And I talk really fast. It was like this really intense experience. And I don't know what Casey did, but from her mastermind, like my ability to land words is my superpower. And I no longer talk really fast. And I no longer need to fill this space. I'm actually super comfortable with silence when I'm speaking. And I believe that that is what I got from you, Casey, was this ability to speak and let my words land in people and be comfortable with silence in between and not trying to overfill the spaces. And that was probably the greatest thing because that has led to where I am now. Now, in 2018 to 2022, I did start a publishing house. God asked me to start a publishing house. That makes no sense. I bought a book, I read about it, and I started a publishing house. And that's actually how it happened. And and then I just figured it out. Like every time it sucked, I made it better. And every time it sucked, I made it better. And it was like a hobby and I enjoyed it. And I started a podcast in 2018 while I was in her mastermind. And that podcast grew my thought leadership and it grew my confidence in being a thought leader and it grew my ability to speak. And then I got on every podcast I could find. I didn't care if there were 2 listeners or 1,000 listeners. I practiced my message over and over and over, and I refined it and I refined it. And every time someone would interview me, I got better and I got better. So like podcasting didn't actually build me a following, but it built my message. And I just practiced what she had taught. I practiced it. And I started to like build a presence. But I don't know, I think I had made my most I'd ever made was 200,000 a year, which was pretty exciting. It stacked away some cash and I was able to leave a pretty toxic 20-year marriage, which was the hardest thing I've ever done and the best thing I've ever done. And so in 2022, I left with 5 kids, my books, and my clothes. And since then, this year, my publishing house has already made $2.7 million. I have 2 Amazon Prime TV shows going out in 2026. I just wrote my 7th book. I've rented sacred islands. I brought leaders from all over the world to sit with me on this sacred island to write their most important books. I have helped mothers. I have been flown to billionaires' homes to sit with them for a week to help them channel their books. I sit with the top, most important thought leaders of our time, and I teach them how to channel their messages. And then we put them through publishing. And it all began when I first saw myself. And it began in that yoga room. Like Casey saw me. And I just needed one person to fucking see me. But I will tell you, learning how to have your message is so deeply important. But if you don't take action, it just dies inside of you. And this is so important. Why I have built, since I left my message, we've built over $4 million since 2022, since I left this marriage. That is what I was able to build from nothing, from fucking nothing. But it's not because I'm powerful in my message, it's because I take action again and again, and I never stop investing. This year, I've taken $400,000 out in loans, even on top of how much we've made, to invest in TV shows, to invest in doing the work I know I'm called to do. I work with the top leaders. I hire the top coaches. I put myself in the top rooms and I take action every single day. And Julie Lamb, oh my gosh, Julie's on here and she went with me to write her book in November last year, one of the most beautiful books ever written. So honored to have sat with her in her book, to have published her on 11/11. What the chances? That's crazy, Julie. And so I will tell you guys, yes, you have to refine your message. You have to know how to speak. People can't listen if you don't know how to land your words. You want to go out and build a business? You got to know how to land your words. You want to make sales? Like, because of my ability to speak, I have been able to close. I had a $77,000 offering at the beginning of the year this year. I could close a $77,000 offer in 30 minutes with someone who never met me before. And it's not because I told them what they were buying. And it's not because I told them I was qualified. It's because I know how to fucking speak. And when I speak, it touches hearts and it moves in a way that pulls forth their deepest, most courageous yes. And when you can learn that, anything and everything is possible. And that is the mastery that Casey Baker teaches. And I'm so grateful. And I'm lucky to call Casey my friend now, but she was my mentor for a very long time. And this is the work, and this is the work that we do for all the women who were burned for being prophetesses, for being leaders, who couldn't speak. This is our work. Our work is that we get to be the ones that stand on the stages and preach that awaken humanity. It is a work, and women are here to do it. So, Casey, kudos. I always love you. You're amazing.
Kiera, thank you. Thank you. I'm seeing just people being so touched. You can put in the chat how you feel hearing Kiera and reflecting. I also just want to say, I mean, such a joy. It's such a joy and such an inspiration. And this piece, I mean, she really is. You really are someone who I know. One of the things I respect so much and so inspired is like you. It is not a day you don't plug in.
I know.
There is
Yeah.
not a day you don't plug in. You plug in and then you take action from that place. And it is so beautiful and inspiring. And you're a testament to the power of that. And what it
Yes,
really takes is plug it in and
I
take
do.
an
I
action.
have a prayer corner in my home, but I traveled every 5 days for the last 2.5 years. And I was living on islands in Costa Rica, and everywhere I go, my prayer corners comes with me. And so I actually have a daily podcast called Sacred Wandering where I take people through a 10-minute drop in to their inner being, because the only way I've ever been able to build any of this is by asking, listening, and doing. And I actually drop into my prayer corner 3 times a day now because I'm just living a much bigger game. And so it's not just a morning plug in, it is 3 times a day plugging in and asking, what's my next step, listening in and doing it.
Phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. It is so, so inspiring. You are it is a joy to watch you. Your faith, your courage, your bravery, your devotion, and you're just such a living example of like that kind of love in action.
Mm,
The finances of it, the impact of it, and the person that you've become.
yeah.
Yeah, really beautiful. Really beautiful. Thank you so much for
Thank you for
out
having
of
me.
your busy, busy world to come in and talk to us.
It was
Thank
an
you
honor.
so much.
And I'm gonna turn my screen off, but I want to sit and listen while I finish up because I love being in your energy and I'm so grateful to be here. So thank you.
Oh,
Thank you.
beautiful. Thank you.
Love you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you
Thank you.
guys.
Love you. Ah, all right. Who here feels really inspired hearing Kira's story? Yeah, yeah. Who here feels really inspired hearing her story? And looking here, seeing Sacred Wanderings. That's the name of the podcast. Um, and just so beautiful. And Kiara, you put your Instagram. People can follow you. Amazing. All right, everybody, let's take a deep breath. Long exhale. All right. So let's talk about turned on sales. Let's get into it. All right. So get your paper and pen ready. We are going to dive into this. So this is really about freeing you to be able to have any kind of sales conversation with people that feels so good. But in so many ways, it's about also that we talk about plugging in. It's about unplugging from this field of the scarcity, the worry. What if people don't like me? What if it brings up these feelings of like I'm not getting enough, or if I feel ashamed, or like you do it, you do in neutral sales, right? It's you're just going through the motions. You're going through the motions. but it's not actually coming from the place of your deepest joy and what your most courageous deep stand for. When you enter into that other plugged in state, and that's our number one job, anytime we get on to do a sales conversation, anytime we get on to speak to one to many outside, I was doing it before our call, right? Is plugging in, taking responsibility for our energy, taking responsibility to make sure we are in the river of sanity, yeah, in the river of trust. And it's riding that dance, right? It's the expansion of ourselves to be able to hold that the highest possible outcome is what's going to unfold. We don't know what that is, but we trust it. We trust it while simultaneously being such a stand for the evolution, for the possibility, right, of the person that you're speaking for through the vehicle of your work, because you know how valuable it is. You believe in it, and you're such a stand for them. You can hold both. And when you get into that space energetically before you speak to people, right? And that's a big part of the energetics, is what we've been doing this whole last week, working on that, being in this state first, right? We get to enter into the place where something opens up and you get to have fun. You get to have fun because it is so fun being a stand for what you believe in. When you're anchored in the joy of your work, there's a joy in it, a purpose, a meaning, a flow of love that you get to, that's what opens when we come in and open ourselves, expand ourselves to help both that we know and trust people are going to do. It's the most aligned thing for them. And we are a deep stand for them to have what they want. And we know and trust that what we have to offer is a powerful way for them to have that. And we want that for them, right? So holding both. That's the frame we come into. There are three questions you can ask yourself before you do your sales call. That helps to anchor your mind, right? Get out of the, how's it going to go? We're frazzled. And come into the place where you are always in your deepest power and intimacy and connection with people, which is the heart of your mind, right? The place of your compassion, your care, what you want for them, what you see is possible. We see with the heart inside of you, right? And that people feel that when you get on a call. So the three questions are: who is this for? What do I want for them? And what does that make possible? What does that make possible? It roots you so deep in the why of why you're there and in the energetic stand. Because I will tell you, when you have a sales conversation with someone in the way that I want to teach you how to do it, it can sometimes be one of the most important conversations of someone's entire life. When you are the person that they get to hear and get to be so seen by you. Sometimes people come in, especially where they're doing work that isn't about their transformation, their creativity, or their work, and there's a level of vulnerability because it's going to be and require them to literally shed old skin and embrace a new identity. And that is a vulnerable task. And sometimes what we need is someone who listens for us in such a powerful way. Their listening for us is powerful, and people will pay amazing money to be in the power of that kind of listening, because that's the kind of listening where people evolve and grow into their fullest potential. So cultivating that energy for yourself before you come on, you're preparing to provide for this person potentially one of the greatest gifts they've ever received, being in the presence of someone who really is listening deeply for their greatness, truly. Right? So that's the beginning. All right. Then when you get on the call, let's say I have a call with someone. So say somebody has bought my ebook, right, through my funnel. They answer an email about setting up a sales call for private work or my program, my mastermind. And I have a sales conversation with them. We get on the phone. Right. And sometimes there's an application before, and sometimes there's not, depends on the context, right? So sometimes you can come in already knowing something about this person. I always recommend doing your due diligence before you speak to somebody, right? What are they up to? Go research them. It's all on the internet. What are they doing? What's their work? What do they stand for? What are they doing? Right? Get to know them before you get on that call. Right? And if they have an application, make sure you really review it and find out what are some pieces about this person that you genuinely are excited to talk to them, that pulls your inspiration and care forward for them, your vision for them forward. Right? So having those first makes a big difference for how you show up and how they feel you're prepared. to really have this conversation with them. So when you get on the call, the first thing you always want to do is set the context. This is really step one. Set the context. Well, step one is the plugging in. Step two, setting the context. All right. This is one of the most important things that's going to make this call feel so good for them and for you is we set the context. Right. So you can welcome, talk to them. So glad we're doing this. So glad you reached out. If there's something genuine you want to share, but you want to be mindful not to like start to let the conversation start to get away because sometimes it can start to get into something and they're sharing something and then it's just you've lost the leadership of the conversation. Your number one job is to lead. You lead, they relax. You relax. All right. So when you set the context, it reduces both your anxiety and theirs, right? And what you're essentially doing is telling them, here's how the call is going to go. Right? And that's literally what I say. Welcome them. So glad you're to connect with you. I read a bit about you online. I really admire the work that you're doing. I'm really glad that you reached out. I'm excited to have this conversation with you. Yeah, great. Me too. I'm so excited. Okay, good. Great. So here's how this conversation is going to unfold. Right? Here's how it's going to flow. First, I would love to hear more about you. I want to know about your work. I want to know about what's really alive for you right now that you're wanting to create. Right. And this conversation here that I'm speaking, this is a parenthesis here, is like how I would do it. You would want to run this through the filter of your work. Like if your work is about coaching or selling a product or whatever it is, right? Your wording may be a little different, but essentially you're in saying the first thing that we're going to do is I would love to spend a little time hearing about you and your work and your vision for what you're really wanting to create now in your life. Like what's really calling you forward now? Where are you wanting to go? And what are like some of the things that's had that feel kind of hard for you, that's having you reach out for support? So I would love to hear that. We're going to start with that. And then I will share a bit with you about how I work and what happens for women inside of my containers, the transformation that becomes possible, and how we do it. So we have a very unique way we do it. And I'll share a bit about that with you. Then, after I share about that with you, you'll feel into whether that feels like something that feels aligned for you. Yeah. And if it does, then we will talk about the logistics, how it works, the call structure, any of that. We'll talk about the pricing. I'll make sure to answer any and all your questions. And then we'll arrive at a moment where we're going to have to see, does this feel like the true path forward for you? And if it does, then we'll talk about the steps to getting you enrolled and what that looks like and help work that out. How does that sound? Great. Okay, good. Now we can have an honest conversation because there's no more sneak attack energy. The thing that can make sales so is that moment when nobody's talked about it, but we all know the moment's going to come when someone's going to ask them, do you want to invest? Do you want to do the program? Do you want, like there's going to be this moment. You feel it and you feel some discomfort of like, I know that's coming and everything's leading into that. And how am I going to do that? And is it the right moment? How will that be? And will it be awkward? There's an awkwardness. It can be. And for them, they know it's coming. And so it's sort of like this unspoken elephant in the room. But when we, first of all, make it really clear how the conversation's going to go and make it really clear that it's going to be run through the filter of what's really true for them and what's aligned for them, it releases the pressure. It releases the pressure so much, right? And it creates a field of trust. Nobody's being pressured, right? They're going to be able to feel whether it's true for them. They're not going to be like forced into anything, right? And when we have that space, we release that pressure. We're in a field of transparency. We're in a very clear state of we know that this person's going to do what's the right and true thing for them. And you're a stand for that. And that's the filter it's going to be run through. Then we can have an open, honest conversation. And if there's one thing in sales that is the you'll hear people who are sales experts talk about this all the time is you got to whatever you got to do to arrive at a place people can talk to you really honestly about not only what they want but what their concerns are about the offer, about saying yes. They have to have an environment where they feel like they can just be really honest, right? Because you can't have those conversations and talk with them about those concerns and support them in, maybe understanding things in a new way or helping them see other solutions they may not have seen potentially if you don't know what they are, right? And you being the person where they can feel that trust with is also the thing that is going to have them feel like, oh, this is someone I can be safe with, right? And especially when we're in the realm of doing coaching and transformational work, this is so important, right? Because we want to choose and work with people that we feel, because what happens in safety? Creativity, expansion. Yeah. So this is one of the most important things is this context setting at the beginning. All right. So I'm going to just check in here in the chat. How is this sounding? Is this making sense? Are there like how are you feeling about this part so far? Right? Are you able to see here how showing up and leading the beginning of that conversation, making it clear how it's going to go, and making sure that you share along the way that they have this, it's everything is being run through the filter of what's really true for them, right? Yeah, a trauma informed approach. Yes, yes, yes. I love it. Love how it's all clear and no sneak attack. Yeah, the sneak attack sucks. Um, Great. Seeing exactly where I have bombed the sales call. All practice. Yes, and I'd add nuance from essence, not their own personality, fear filters, not their true highs. Good for them. Yes, yes, yes. So good. Love this. Feels safe. The idea of staying in leadership on the call really lands for me. Yeah, that is the game changer, right? That's really it. That's so great, Janice. Um, well, it just depends, it depends on the time. And I usually book about 30 to 40 minutes, 30 to 40, 45 minutes at the most. hmm Okay. Okay, amazing. Um, so let's so that's the first piece. Now we're gonna then enter into the place where you're gonna hear from them about what's going on. And this is the place where it really is a practice in presence. You got to just stay right with them, right? When you have the internal dialogue that's running of like, okay, then what am I going to say after this? And what am I going to do after that? And oh my God, will they say this? Does it seem like the person's going to make the right sale? It's like the whole thing is running. They're going to feel that, right? What we want to create is a feel where we just lean in energetically with that fertile listening for someone in such a way they can't help but blossom in your presence, right? We listen for them in that way. And we sometimes you once you set the context and you invite them to share, in my experience, I don't even need to ask any more questions about the share because it is just like they are just ready and waiting to share all the things, right? So, but I want to give you some other questions that you can ask to help bring them into a space where they're really sharing about what's really true for them and you're really understanding them, what their situation is, and then also finding out some more information about, okay, well, this is something that maybe is a real struggle for her. I want to make sure that I really touch on that when I talk about what my offer is and like the unique way that my offer works, right? So you make sure to really tailor how you then share about your work and your process in a powerful way for this person. So the first some potential questions are more some things like, tell me about your work and what's really calling you next in your work. All right. Where are you being called to, it could be to really grow or expand, right? Where is are you like what kind of evolution have you been going through that's really transforming how your work is for you now? And what do you see that you're wanting from this place now in your life and in your work, right? Um, what's happening that you're wanting, like what are you wanting to create next? Very simple question. What are you wanting to create next? Um, and this could be like in your relationship, if you're a relationship coach, if you are, teaching about business, if you're teaching about speaking, if you're teaching about health and wellness, right? Asking specific questions that are related to what's next for them in that realm, right? So it's tailored there. What's getting in the way for you? What's been getting in the way for you and really having what it is that you're wanting to create? And then they'll share about that. And that's really amazing information. And then asking them what would be possible for you if you had X, if you had this thing that you're really wanting, what would be possible for you in your life? Like what would that make possible? Sometimes, this is where we get into the deeper place in people's hearts and the deeper why, right? Like, like for instance, I remember years ago when I was going through a deep journey around money for myself, like I did a whole bunch of, you know, random courses to kind of learn some things, but it wasn't for me until I got really clear that like, oh, I want to make more money so that I can really model for my son, you know, what it is to make money and feel really safe and at peace in your life. I didn't grow up in that kind of environment. I want to model for my son really making money from following your dreams. I want to heal my lineage. I want to do this for like my great grandmother. It's like poor, East Texas in the sticks, praying with their head on like a cane chair, the dirt floor. Like I'm doing this for her too. Like those are some of the deeper things of like, what would this make possible for you? What would this make possible in your life that helps people to get into those deeper places of why this matters to them so much? When people connect to that, gosh, really like, wow, all they need is like a community, mentorship, and like a way, a method to help them create that transformation, right? And you can talk about that when it comes your time to talk, but unveiling these pieces is so huge. It's so, so huge, right? So you want to ask these questions to help understand them, understand their world, find out is this actually even a person that you're going to be able to support, right? And also help them to get really connected to their own vision, plugged in. It's kind of like this part of the conversation is partly how you help them plug in, to plug into their vision, to plug into what they want, to get honest about the things that have stood in the way and the deeper reasons why they want it and what it would make possible. And so you really listen for this piece here. Right. So now after they've shared, then you take the time to reflect. This person is just so opened up to you. It's such a joy leaning into people's hearts, right? Leaning in with people's hearts, listening for them, finding out what they want, right? This is beautiful terrain. So let yourself, the part of the practice is letting yourself really luxuriate in like just the joy of being in this space of connection, intimacy, and honesty with this person. You're touching into a really beautiful place with them. So someone's just opened and like it's a lot sometimes, they've just shared what they want and for you to reflect back, and to really reflect back, what you heard. Reflect back what you heard, what they're wanting, they see as possible for them, what may have been a struggle for them so far and having what they're really wanting. Right? So reflect back. And what is authentic to you about what you want to say to them about what you've heard, right? That is like, oh, how this is like the stand that you have for them in that place. Like what you respect about their path, what you celebrate about your path, what they've said that legit moves you, you know, that touches you. And to share your vision of what you see is possible for them. That's the piece from your heart. This is what I see as possible for you. And then to let them know. And I can truly say that I believe and know that it is absolutely possible for you to have that because I've seen it so many times. Yeah. So, would you like to hear about how I work with people? And that's if you ask the question from that place, would you like to hear about how I work from people? Right. And again, that's that moment that can feel so awkward for us sometimes. What if they say no? But this is why we plug in at the beginning, right? You're rooted in the value of what you do and you trust the outcome. Maybe they say no. That's okay because what you want is the highest unfolding for them, right? But chances are pretty high. They're going to say yes because they're going to be curious. They want to know. They've just opened up all of this. So just know that you're in like a connected conversation. They're probably going to want to know. Yeah, yeah, I want to know. So you can ask, would you like to hear how I work with people and helping them around this to make another reality possible? And you ask in a way that is not like a performance. Would you like to know how I work with people in a 3-step plan to make this possible? It's like, "Rah, rah." No, this is why we plug in and we plug into our heart and we lean in, right? This is the energetics. This is why we do the work before. This is why we plug into that heart of the mind, a place of compassion and care. Because they'll feel that, right? They'll feel that. So then from that place, then you get to share about the transformation that your work, your offer, your product makes possible, right? Because people buy transformation. That's what they buy. They buy transformation. They don't care. They really don't care if you have like 4 calls a month, 3 calls a month, or the extra doodads on the back of your product or whatever. Like, what is this going to make possible? What is this going to make possible? Right? So, you're going to share about the transformation that becomes possible in your work. So, when women come into my high level program, when people buy my product, this is what becomes possible for them. They go from having, and I'm going to give you the context of like for me, right, in my work, right, like a dream of having their message shared, like Kiara's, right, a dream, knowing there's something inside to follow, right, but who they are is that they have no like identity or context around it, but they go and they become the person. They become the person who is so rooted in the value of what they do. Their work is spreading. They are taking action from that place with faith and joy and bravery and embodied love and courage. Like they are on fire with their work, right? They are on fire because they are so connected in and they go off and they spread their message and they make tons of money from it and they completely transform who they are, right? They literally evolve within the scope of this work. So for you, you want to share what is the thing that becomes possible? What is the transformation that becomes possible in your work? What is that thing, right? And you can share oftentimes a great story, right, about another client because this is the other thing. People need to not only the transformation and the trust, but they need to believe that it's possible. So this is where you may share a short story about another client, maybe who had a similar thing that happened to this person or a similar struggle that they were facing and what has become possible for them. Right? If you are at a place where you're just beginning in this new body of evolution of your work and you don't have that many new clients yet, you share about your own story, about what's happened for you. That's great. Right? So we share that. And then from there, then you want to share about the way that this happens. So here's how we do that. Here's how I do that with my clients, right? And this is where we share about this unique way that you bring, right? That the unique frame that your work has that makes it so effective, right? There may be a lot of other programs out there, but there's nothing that's quite this way about the way that you do it, right? Be other products out there, but this is like about this product. So this is the unique thing about this product and why it's so successful at creating this transformation for people. Right. So that's the place where you start to lean into that piece. What is the way? And you let them know about how it works, right? What is that unique way? It's not, we're not getting into, I'm not saying here, well, it's 2 calls a month and we do, no, it's like, what's the deeper way? What's the context of the way that this works that creates shifts for them, right? That then creates what's possible. And I could sometimes say something like, so here's the way that we do it. It's super unique. It's unorthodox, but it's so effective. We've helped thousands of women. And Here's how it works. And then I'll explain some of the deeper undercurrents of how that method works, right? So that's for you where you explain how that is, right? Maybe I'm thinking of one of my clients here, right? Who Janice is doing this epic work called the inner monologue. She takes women through this incredible process of healing these like conflicting parts within the self by doing deep inner work and creating characters out of them and then putting on like a stage one woman monologue performance between all the different parts. Epic. It's epic, epic, epic. Like the highest form of healing is through art, and she is just nailing it with this process, right? And so she has a very unique way that she's going about helping women to find the freedom to be fully expressed and in themselves and find that courageous clarity and it's just amazing. It's just a very unique way. She'll talk about that unique way, right? So for you, you talk about what that unique way is, right? And then you come back again to talking about what it makes possible, right? What it makes possible and what you see would be possible for the person that you're speaking to. And that's where you go from what we call the macrocosm of the message, right? What it makes possible. Here's the way that it does. Uh-huh. I love that, Denise. Yes, why it creates shifts. Love that. Like how the vehicle works, right? What it makes possible, and then what it makes possible. You see the vision of what it can make possible for the person that you're speaking to. What is this at the next piece? What is it that you see as that this work, this method can make possible for this person? And you paint the picture for them. You paint the picture. Help them to see the vision of their future self having done this process with you, this way, and what it can make possible for them. Okay? And then after that, you say, so tell me from everything that I've shared so far, what questions do you have? Yeah. And that opens up a conversation. Sometimes it's like where they start to enroll themselves. Oh my God, yeah, I see how this could be so great. Or they might have some questions about your process or wanting to understand more, right? This is great. And after they share about that and say, okay, great. Now, would you like to hear about how it works, right? Some of the logistics. Yes, I would like to hear. Okay, great. So we ask again, would you like to hear about some of the logistics, about how it works and, kind of the mechanics of it? Yes, great. All right. So, and that's where you start to share about we have X number of calls, we do X number of this, and the details, right? The logistics details. All right. And then you say, all right, great. I'm going to share about the pricing before we move on to that. I just want to see, do you have any questions about the logistics? The calls, any of that, anything. And sometimes people do. Yeah, is it on Mondays? Is it on Tuesdays? They're already thinking about, okay, how can I get this scheduled in my life and make it work? And the wheels are turning of seeing how they can make this possible for them. Right? And people might have some great questions at that point. I get that all the time. Well, if the call's on Wednesdays and I usually have this, are there any other calls? Yes, we have an alternating call every week at different times. That happens for so many of our clients. They're so busy. That's why we have so many calls. We don't expect you to come to every call. That's why we have so many, and you can come to the ones that work best for your schedule. Okay, great. Great. That's the place where they're going to start to open up like some more logistical objections. And you get to talk through it with them there, right? And then we move into the place like, okay, right. So let me tell you about the investment. Okay. So, and you don't even have to ask at this point because you've already told them. So you just lead. Let me tell you about the investment. Okay. All right. So, all right. Now, at this part, here is how I have structured this for years. Right. So let's say it's my private client work. Right. I have three levels of my private client work. Right. My upper tier is anywhere from $32,000 to $42,000. Okay. My mid tier is, somewhere between 10 to 18, 20,000, depending on how it's structured. And then the lower tier is more like 12. Okay. Those are mine. And sometimes, I mean, my upper tier is amazing and produces incredible results for women. Like it's amazing. And I get probably, one a quarter. Generally over the years, that's what I average, one of those a quarter. And so I always offer it. Even if I know someone has expressed and I sense that that might not be the thing for them, you have no idea, A. And so for some people, though, that might be the thing. They want the highest level thing. And there are buyers who's like, I want the full enchilada, the deepest possible work for you. I want the best for myself and my growth and my work. Those are my favorite clients. They're like, I want the best because my message and my work matters so much. Those are my favorites. And those are the ones who go on to do the most amazing things. Like Kiara is like, I will do whatever it takes to make this happen. That kind of all in is actually the energy that creates the most success. So I love those kinds of clients, right? But sometimes I know that that may or may not, I can get a little bit of sense. Maybe it won't work for them, but I'm always going to offer it anyways because it also creates a price anchor, right? So that when I share about the $30 to $42,000 first, and this is what this is, I've already described the 3 programs to them, that I'm going to land it in their pricing at this point. Okay, so the first program I told you about is $32 to $40,000, and the second program is this, and the third program is this. Which one do you sense would be the best for you? I like that. I like that as opposed to just offering one thing. Because then it's about choosing between A, B, and C as opposed to choosing between A and 0. Now, that's how I do it. Other people have different philosophies around that, but I have always done that for years. I've been there for 15 years and it just works great. And then people get to choose what's the best thing for them, right? So, this is the place where at that point you share those 3 things and then you ask, what is what do you sense is the best one for you? I want to back up because I don't think I clarified price anchor. So price anchor means that if something is like 32 to $40,000, then by the time I share about option number 3 at 12,000, that feels like a really like amazing, value there, right? It is going to land differently. And it's just, I think it's, just smart marketing and understanding human psychology. But I also have 3 offers that people choose from different levels all the time. And I want people to choose the one that they really feel is best for them. So when you're creating your offer, and that's one of the things that like really getting clear on your offer and the different pieces of it, you just stand in it so deeply. This is actually one of the things that we're doing like in just 2 weeks with my mastermind. We're doing like a 2-day intensive. It's 5 hours, 2.5 hours each day of getting totally clear on the offer, right? What is your offer that you are so psyched about and that people are just like, it's a no-brainer to say yes to it, right? And one of the pieces is like, is it just one thing or is there one price level? Are there 2? And really looking at developing that, right? So this piece is a really important piece that I have found to be like, it makes it really easy. They can get the transformation. Either way, they're going to get the transformation, right? In any of these containers, it's just about how they're going to get it, right? They're going to get the same kind of transformation, but it's just about the level of intimacy of coaching and proximity, right? And so you're helping them choose the path that's best for them, both for what most turns them on, but also what is financially doable for them. Okay. So that's the piece. Which one do you sense will work best for you? Right. And then they're going to let you know. So I'm going to answer this question here. Do you offer only one category, private coaching or mixed group or private offers? That's a great question. It depends on the person and what they've reached out to me for. There are times where I will absolutely, in the scope of talking about, here are the different offers. I will say there is the mastermind program and private coaching. Here's, and give them the option. Sometimes I combine mastermind with a week-long private intensive. That's definitely something many of my clients choose to do. So it depends on the person. It depends what I'm enrolling into at that time. I have gone through seasons in my work where I'm doing a lot of group work and I am primarily enrolling into group programs. I go through seasons in my work where I am mostly doing private work and I'm in a place of re-gesturing like what's happening in my offers and creating from that place. And so I'm only enrolling into private work. It depends on the season. And it depends on what they're wanting. But I will give you an example. So one of my clients, Jessica Michaels, um, she's a Jeffrey Epstein survivor. Unbelievable, incredible story, phenomenal success story in our work. Incredible. Like she was just on Katie Couric and CNN and like the darling and all the news, and they love and they keep asking her to come back on. She's raised all this money for her this incredible venture that she's doing with sexual assault prevention and this app that she's developed called the Three Joanne. She's doing her TEDx talk. I mean, she's on fire. When she first came in, she was terrified, could not speak, had not even told her story to anybody. I mean, just, and now where she's gone. And when she came in, she did my mastermind and she did a week-long private intensive with me. So that was like a combination. But I don't offer that to everybody. I choose who that I offer that to. I don't actually offer my week-long private intensive to just anybody because that's like spending a whole week with. So I got to be sure. Am I really inspired by this person? Am I really inspired about the work that they're doing? Because that is like a huge outlay for me creatively doing a week-long speech writing intensive. So there's like some different caveats in that. But yes, sometimes I will combine them, and then sometimes I don't. And you can combine them, and you can do it any way that you want. You just have to own it. That is all. Right. So after you, so if someone has sticker shock, even at the lower tier of my offer, I think that, um, do I ever share the price or anything on that? Absolutely. I do. I share the price on my stuff. I like transparency. I trust I'm talking to grown women. That's how I operate. What if someone immediately seems to have sticker shock? I mean, that's their deal. That's not my business. That's how I feel about it. It's probably not. I mean, if they have sticker shock at my programs, they're probably if that doesn't happen to me very often. It just doesn't because they're all right. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Because I'm doing all the things that lead up to the sales call. I'm out there. I'm sharing my message. I'm standing in the value. People know what I stand for, right? People know and trust who I am, what I stand for. Like they know I'm going to be offering stuff that's of value, right? All of that makes that moment so much easier. And that actually leads to the next thing that I want to speak about, which is so huge, is that when it gets to that moment, right? When you say what works best for you, right? Some people are like, I will take the full enchilada, please. Full pay. Some people are like, I would love to do the full thing, but I think that I need to start with the 1 day intensive and the 6 months of coaching. I think that's where I need to start. Okay, great. Let's do it. Awesome. Well, here we go. Here's the next step. So the next step, what we're going to do is we need to look at our calendars and find the dates. And so we pull out our calendars and we start putting it in. And then I'm like, okay. And I am someone, sometimes I will take the sale on the call and I will register them on the call. I will get up this order form. I take their information. I do it. I VIP it. I make it easy for them. I make it easy. That's a nice thing. It's also good to take it on the call. We're done. Less work for them. It works. And then I let them know, here are the next things that you can expect. You will get an email from my assistant, and then this will happen, and then this will happen, and this will happen. And then you've properly onboarded this person, right? Then you have some people who are like, I really need to think about it. I'm not sure. I need to think about it. So, this is the case where, so two things. This is the moment where I will tell you, doing all the things we talked about, building that pathway of getting aligned, doing the work to become known for your message, being a full energetic embodiment of your work, because that is what people are investing in, is your embodiment of your work for sure. Getting known for it, being generous with your message, being out there, people knowing what you stand for, right? That is what makes this, that's what changes this moment. I rarely get people who are like, I'm not sure. because they already know what I stand for and the transformation that becomes possible through my work. I've really landed that in our call. Like that is very rare, right? That they're at a moment of indecision about if they want to do this or not. It's usually about the pathway that's going to work best for them, and usually about the pathway that's going to work best for them financially. They know they want the transformation. They are ready. We have really landed that, right? And they know and they trust that I can deliver because I have been that person out there, right? I am that person out there. They see and they feel that. Transformation reputation. I love that. Yes, it's true, right? So that's actually what makes this moment so easy. So easy, right? Now, if someone does say, I need to think about it, I'm not really sure, and say, great. Well, here's what I want you to know. My stand really is for you really living into the fullness of what it is that you are calling into your life. And I know and trust that you know and trust what's the true way for you to do that, right? Whether that's working with me or doing something else. So I just want you to know that I'm a stand for what's most aligned for you. You know, and I would love to chat with you further and help you really have all the information that you need to really feel into this decision for you. Because I know it's a big one. I know it's a big one. In your work, what you want, what you're desiring, right, deserves the best. And you got to feel confident in that. So if you're open to sharing, I'd love to know like what are some of the concerns that come up for you? And that's where people, when they feel that, okay, I'm not going to get pressured. This person really wants to help me come at a true situation. She gets what a big deal this is. I'm going to open up and share some of my concerns. And then you get to have a really honest conversation and help them. And it's really like you don't have to have a lot of like strategy of working through objections. And people like get so worried about that. To you an example, it's really easy. It's like one of my clients who is doing, I'm doing news, I'm doing my first big woman speaking event, stage speaking event since COVID in May. And I already have a few women signed up. And one of the women we had a conversation about, she is so longing for this in her life. She is just meant to be on stage, this kind of person. I mean, she's such a just fabulous, just communicator, personality, essence. Like she was born to be on stage. And she hasn't exercised that as fully as she knows that she should and like is her calling in her life. And so this is a big moment. She really wants to do it. But she was like, we got to that moment. And she was like, I don't know, I think I just need to really think about it. And I'm like, really? For real? That's what's happening to me inside. Like how after for real? And I'm like, okay, okay. So she said, I got to think about it. I'm not sure. That's what we get to all the way to this point. That's what she says. And I'm like thinking, like, surely, because I mean, we're so connected, so clear with what you want, so desire. I was kind of surprised. And I was like, okay. And then I said to her, listen, this has really got to work for you if you're going to do it. I want you to know I'm such a stand for you, period. I believe in you. I see you. And like, I get what a big investment this is. So it's got to be something that you feel like super clear and great about. So listen, let's chat about like what's coming up and let's see, is there something that maybe we can help provide more clarity around to help you arrive at like a really clear, aligned decision for you? She's like, yeah. She's like, so I think I'm just so busy the next 2 months. I don't know how I'm going to work this into my schedule. And so I was like, oh, so I was like, okay, so the concern is that if you start right now in the program that you won't be able to pay attention to it, you won't be able to focus on it until like December. She's like, yeah, I'm so stressed about it. I was like, oh my God, I get it. That sounds really stressful. No, that wouldn't work. That I mean, when she explained the situation, I was like, yeah, that would be like really stressful. And I get it. So why don't we do this? Why don't you start in December? Right? We'll put a deposit down now. You can hold your spot and we'll start in December. So it's spacious for you and you can have the fulfillment of your vision and your dream. You would do that? Yes. Ah, great. Deposit done. She's in. Everybody is thrilled. She gets what she needs. We worked it out. Now, if I had just said, oh, okay, well, why don't you think about it for a couple days and I'll follow up? you know, and then that would have been so sad. That would have been so sad, right? So that is how you get to just have, like, when you really lean into being like, I want what is true for you. It is a big decision. It's big. It's got to feel great. It's got to feel aligned. No other way. No. And I am such a stand for you. I am such a stand for you. So let's talk about what are the things that are coming up. And let's just talk about it and see if maybe there's some, I don't know, insight or understanding or solution or clarity that can help you in making that decision. So it's really clear for you either way. Then we just get to have two conversations. There's no pressuring, there's none of that manipulative stuff. You get to feel so much better about it. You are in your compassion, you are freeing them. Every time you free them, you get to feel so much better. They get to feel no pressure from you, and you get to be your full stand and help them work through it. Right? That's really the secret. It gets to continually stay feeling good every time you make it so clear. This is how to be what's aligned for them. Right? And we're going to talk through it. So, if it's a money thing, yeah. So if it's a money thing, money is oftentimes the thing. So, I mean, here's the thing. This is why you have payment plans. Money is a thing. Cash flow is a thing. Everybody can just like put down, 18 grand at one spot. Some people can. Some people do. Always recommend if someone's going to pay in full, either there's like some kind of nice price break for like paying in full, or there's a bonus that comes with paying in full, right? Some people just need a payment plan. So that's what you have payment plans for, right? And you have a payment plan, but the payment plan's got to work for you too, right? Don't I advise you not to create these payment plans that, say the program is 12 months long, but you got a 24-month payment plan. You know, I encourage you to make the payment plan during the length of the fulfillment of the program, right? That is very that I feel like that's very important. So this is and if they can't do the payment plan, you can work with them doing a payment plan, right? If they can't do the payment plan or the pay in full and you work with them on it, it is not meant to be for that program, right? That is where if you have a lower end program that can support them, that might be a better fit. You can then do what's called the downsell. Be like, great. If it's really not, like if it's absolutely you end the conversation, there's no way, even with the payment plan, it's not going to work and it's completely out of the price range, then that's just how it is. And be like, okay, I totally get it. Well, this may be a better fit for where you're at right now. And if you have a lower end program for them to start with, then you can tell them about that and the price range for that. And that might be a great place for them to start. Okay. All right. So it does take practice. Totally. This takes practice, everybody. Um, Lose myself, dissociate when I hear objections. Yeah. So this is why we do the energy work for sure before. And there are deeper ways that we do it. In my work with my clients, one of the things that we're doing is like we end up doing a lot of energy cultivation work. So we really are living in the river of this and creating deep internal safety, resting deep in the value, feeling safe, resting deep in the value, cultivating deep safety in the space of rejection, the fears of rejection. Those are so big, right? We got to work with those in the nervous system. That's like a deeper cut of what we do in my work, more than we would do in the spaces challenge. But the plugging in is so important and it takes practice. Same thing with speaking, right? It's like you can learn these skills to go and speak on stage, but it takes practice. That's why we got to have a community that we practice sharing our message with, that we practice speaking with, because we begin to regulate for safety over time. The more we do it, right? And we begin to also embody the message more and be able to rest in that, right? And it takes practice. So I have gotten so much better at sales conversations over the years because I've done so many of them, right? Some of you maybe have read my story when I worked at that art gallery. Those first 2 weeks, I was terrified. I was not very good at it at all. It was very hard, and out of necessity, I had to become good, right? If I didn't get good at sales, I wasn't eating because that was my job. Right? It's still my job that way. I'm an entrepreneur, right? I don't sell. There ain't no food. It's same for all of us who are entrepreneurs, right? It's just truth, right? So become amazing at selling. Become amazing at selling. Find a way to do it that feels so good for you, that sets you free to be in your joy with it, sets them free to do the thing that's so true for them, and just have honest conversations. It can feel so good, but it does take practice. And that would be my charge for you. That's why we're in a challenge. So I want you to go out this week and practice. We're going to practice. Yeah, so you would, and we'll talk more about that. Um, a sales satsang that feels like a good metaphor. I love that. A sales satsang. It's truth. Yes. Yes. Spaciousness, no rushing, easy. Oh, Kelly, I love that. You made it easy for me to invest way more money than I ever have invested in anything besides a house. And I'm grateful for every penny. Oh, I love you. Oh, it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. People got to trust you to invest a lot of money, right? And that's one of the things that we do in my mastermind programs, help women to really develop these like high ticket, high level offers. You can have that, whatever that is for you. You can have your lower level ones too, but it's really in learning how to feel confident and brave and free and standing in the value to enroll people into higher ticket offers. And anything from high ticket can be anything really from like say 8,000 to anything 40,000, 100,000, right? But really clarifying these high ticket offers where you're going to really bring in a lot more cash flow into your business. And that makes all the difference. All the difference. All right. So this is what I really, and so here's the thing. And if at the end of it, someone still says, I need to think on it for a few days. Perfect. Sometimes I'm a go for it buyer, and sometimes I really had to sit in it. I got to sit in it. I got to sit in it like people sitting in doing, sales conversion events, it's like 3 days or like 21 day, like this, things like this. Got to sit in it for a period of time, make a decision. I can be that way, right? So I honor that and be like, great. And we pull out the calendar, be like, great. When would be a good time for us to follow up? How is Friday for you? Great. Yeah. And sometimes you do, if you're making a big investment, you got to talk to your partner if you merge your finances in that way. So great. On Friday. So what I'll do in the meantime is I'm going to send you a recap of the different options and the investment amounts and what the payment plans would look like. I'll send that in an email. You let me know between now and Friday if you have any questions that come up. Just email me. I'll get back to you. And then when we talk on Friday, you can let me know where you've landed. And if there are any other questions, we can also talk about it then. Great. Perfect. It feels good. Because the truth is, we're not here to coerce people. We're not. And when we let that go, that neediness, oh, it opens up so much more of our joy and our freeness in the work and to be our full selves and our full essence. And that's what people are going to really invest with. So this is the sales method process that I want you to take. I know you've been taking a lot of notes. There's replay, right? And this is what I want you to now go and practice, right? To practice, practice, practice. So what I want to I see here is like if you here were just like totally plugged into having sales feel so good for you and you felt like you practiced, you felt this like river of both the trust and you're being able to be a stand for people. It feels good. You're leaning into the love you feel, the compassion you feel, the care you feel, the joy you feel, the belief in your work, and sales felt so good. Can you see what would be possible for you in the success of your work? Can you see what would be possible for you in the amount of money that you would make if you really genuinely felt this freedom and feel so good and free to do sales every day, right? Put in the chat. Can you see what that would make possible for you? What it would make possible for you being able to reach the people that you're here to reach, right? Being able to make the money that's going to make such a difference for your family, to invest even more for your future self. Yeah, it's the big unlock. It's the big unlock, right? And can you see also what it would make possible if you were to really like Kiara, right? Let yourself dream about another dimension of who you get to be in this world. and let yourself dream, like exploring and exercising the full potential of your voice, of your message, of the money that you're here to make, and the freedom inside yourself to get out there and just go for it. Like, can you see what would be possible for yourself if you would let yourself like, take that dream so seriously and really go for it and take that action, like Kiara said, like from that aligned place? Yeah, can you see what that would make possible for you? Can you have a glimpse of maybe even like the woman that you would become? Like, who is that woman who's just owning it so deeply, is in that space of her turn on, living into her dream, going for it, right? Exploring the fullness of her potential, her evolution, the impact of the work and the message that you've gotten messages around. It is your work to do here, right? And then knowing like I want to make so much money sharing my work, like the woman that you would become, like seeing, feeling into her. It's so beautiful. That's why our dreams call us into being. Our dreams are here to evolve us, right? So if you were aligned, can you see what would be possible if you were like just so aligned in your message, right? So aligned with your work. Oh my God. Aligned, like we talked about with Sarah, right? Just got so aligned, having to shed and replug in and get so aligned and so clear on the message. And in the river of like, this is my deepest, this is what I really want to be doing. Oh my God, I love it. Like the momentum that you would have. Can you feel that? Can you feel? You can put it in the chat. Like, can you sense the momentum of that energy? Just giving yourself that gift and having an offer that is just like you cannot. Like, I am like so excited to wake up in the morning, right? To do what I do and to invite people into my work because I believe in, I know what becomes possible because it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Right? And to have an offer that you're so aligned with, you can't wait to wake up and tell people about it and sell people into it. Like you feel the, the wealth that that would create in your life. Yeah, like that is just like so the key to be that plugged in and that clear. Right? So this is just like there are so many pieces and even like the other piece too is like, one of the things that is so we talked a little bit about this, but it's like when we're doing it all by ourselves, it's so hard. It's so hard. We think we can just sit behind our computer screen alone and just figure it out. But one of the honest assessments is to really look at what's the listening that's surrounding you in your life. Like, really, what's the listening that is surrounding you in your life? And what would be possible if you put yourself in a field, in a community of people who listen for you so deeply. Like they're listening with that like fertile listening, right? Like they listen for your brilliance. They can't wait. And they are also people who are going for it, being plugged in, turned on, expanding. Like, oh my gosh, can you feel the fertilizer? It's Miracle Grow. Literally, can you feel the magic? Isn't there like a part of you that's like longing for that kind of community, those kind of like community and friends, like good people you like no bounds, there's no glitchiness. Like you can just be fabulous, you know, and do courageous shit. And they're just like, yes, and they're doing it too. And it just creates this cascade. It's amazing. I see it all the time in my work with women. We put them in the skin, and it's just like, it's incredible. It happens for me. That's why I invest lots of money, putting myself into all kinds of things for years. I've invested so much money for the last 15, 20 years, right? Putting myself into containers where that's the vibe. And I mean, every time I do, I'm just like, I go through periods of like just major growth, right? It's so much about the environment and the community, right? So this is really the piece that I'm wanting to dial in here with you is like these pieces, the pillars, like the pathway, right? We talked about the alignment, the messaging, the offer, right? And all coming from this deep alignment, the turn on and staying really deep connected into that, as well as the strategy. How do we get out there and share the message and have people know you in a way that feels really good and authentic for you? It's easy, right? It's not that it's not work. Hello. This is work. We are here, right? To also to work, but to play, but to create, to be creators. We can create and work in this realm in a way that feels good, that gives you energy. And it all comes from being so plugged in, right? So plugged in with this energy and this turn on, right? So you get the alignment, the messaging, you're off for clarity, and then you're out there and you're sharing and you're speaking, and people are knowing you, right? That's the art of like, that's when the sale gets really easy, right? They're like, you're the one I need to work with because they know you, they know what you stand for, they know the brilliance of your work, right? We have a consistent flow. It creates consistent flow throughout your speaking, that you being out there, sharing your message, they come in. And then from that place to have this really beautiful, intimate conversation of creation and evolution. That's what selling is. That's what selling can be. And from that place, the abundance of the impact and of the money. Yeah. So this is what I believe, and I'm such a stand for. I'm such a stand for women of wisdom and spreading their messages and generating incredible money doing it. To be well resourced in the process. That is what I am stand for. It's what I am called to do. It is my job. It is my divine called job. I take it very seriously. It runs in my veins. And so I have put something together for you guys to get these results, right? The kind of results that you hear about with Kiara, kind of results that you've heard about like with Sarah, kind of results that you hear about with like Jessica or Michael's, like these different people that I've shared about with you. Like there's so many more, you know, so many more of women who come into our containers and just go gangbusters, right? And to create this reality for yourself in as short a time period as possible, as short a time period as possible, right? So it took me like a long time, in years to accumulate and to really like develop and in so many ways master. And that is really the level of what we like this work is in at this point from 15 years of what we've done and what I've invested in myself, my own training, but also working with so many incredible women who've gone off and done epic shit. It's like we have a method and a vehicle of providing this for women in a way that is amazing. And it doesn't have to take forever. It doesn't have to take forever. So this is what we have I put it all together in a way that it's just like to create it to work for you. So is it okay with you if I share with you what I've come up with and what I developed? You can put it in the chat. Like, is that okay? Do you want to hear about it? Do you want to hear what I created? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, amazing. Amazing. Beautiful. Okay, so this might be where some of you are like, I'm out of here. I don't want to hear an offer. I don't want to hear an offer. That's okay. You are welcome. You're welcome to go. You're welcome to go. And I'm so grateful you stayed. But for the rest of you who are curious and who are connecting in and tuned into this river of possibility and what's possible, I want you to know you can have it. You can have it. All right. And so my stand is that this process, this is one of there's a lot of things about my work that is really unique about it. There's a lot of things that are really unique about my work. But one of them is that like I'm such a stand for you to feel so good. I just want you to feel so good because the best shit comes from that, right? And it's not means we go through hard times. It's not that there's not work, but we can source from feeling this vitality. And that's the huge place of where we're coming from this work. And one of the ways that it's like, and I think this is like if you were to make an honest assessment of yourself and what you truly want, right? What you truly, truly want, what you truly want. And I asked this recently in my mastermind with some of my students. What do you really want? It's like I want my message to reach so many people. I want to make so much more money, like more and more money from my work. I want to really impact. I know I want to live into the fullness of my potential, like this calling. I have this job. How do I do it? How do I do it? But what's the biggest thing that holds you back from that? And the biggest answer for everybody was like, I'm tired. I'm tired. I don't want it to burn me out. I want to do it, but I don't want it to burn me out. You know? So I don't want that for you either. And so that's one of the many reasons why this work is so different. That's right. It's rooted in aliveness. It's rooted in vitality. And that's part of what makes it so generative and successful and magnetic and fun, right? And abundant. So what I have for you, all right, and I want to share with you just so you can see because I'm so excited about it. I am so excited about this. Um, is let me get it up here. Where is my screen? Love this. Legends. I've created a new format of my mastermind, expanded, evolved, next level, the Legends Mastermind. You arrive a speaker, you leave a legend, because that is what we're really up to here. Yeah. We are here to truly become legends. So, what I am so committed for you, this is a 12-month catalytic. It's one of my favorite words right now. Catalytic, right? It's like a catalyst. It's like you can't help but just it's like you're gonna pop off, right? Things are gonna go to the next level because it's how it's designed, right? It's a 12-month catalytic mastermind to help transform women of wisdom into iconic voices, right? And being embodied change makers, because that is what people are sorting for now. Is it embodied? Can they feel you, right? Being that kind of speaker and leader, wisdom teacher, right? And to be wealthy, well resourced leaders who are shifting culture with their ideas, right? I know the chances are very high that that is a description for so many of you of what you're feeling called into, and that is what this is in devotion to, is helping you to go and create that experience for yourself, be like have that transformation, right? To go beyond having a message, which is so amazing, but how do we build a movement? How do we build a movement around our work that really shifts culture? And that is what happens for women in my work, right? We women in my work shift culture. They go on to really be the ones that have huge breakthroughs in their identity, who they be, but really making a dent in the universe with their ideas, right? And being really great, successful, well paid from it. So if you're ready to get so aligned in your message, so aligned with your work, like tap into that river of aliveness so that you are just unstoppable in your joy and your generosity of energy and being out there and sharing you are on fire, right? So that that creates so much more momentum and energy around your work. That is what Legends supports you in doing. If you are ready to clarify your message, right? Clarify your message. If you're ready to get so clear on what it is that is at the heart of this burning fire inside of you that you know that is yours to bring and be out there and sharing it in a way that gets you known for it, that legit has you become known for your work, right? When people think of you, they think of your ideas and what you stand for. That is, I mean, we talk about like the impact that that creates, so that you can have so much more opportunities of people. I got to have you on my podcast. I got to have you come speak on my stage. I mean, this is what happened to me for my work when I got invited to come speak at the UN in Switzerland. It's like I just was in my joy out there sharing what I believe, what I'm stand for, my ideas, my shifts and perspectives, and it leads to these kinds of epic opportunities. Same thing with Jess Michaels, my client, right? Who should sink in and do the deep work that we do, because what we do here is the depth work. That's one of the things that is so different about this work. It's not shallow. Like, this is the place where women come after they have done the other speaker stuff. They've gone to the other marketing courses and they've gone to the other speaker things, and they come and they're like, I mean, it's good, but it just didn't get to the thing. It didn't get to the thing inside. And that is what we do. We go there deeply so that you get that full total alignment. That's the secret, right? And to help bring out the true message, the gems, the brilliance, right? Who you know you are and what's really in here, and bring it out, right? That opens so many doors, possibilities, following impact, right? And people who are like, that's the woman I need to work with. That's the one. That's the one, right? They don't even really need the sales call, right? Or that moment at the end of the sales call, it's a no-brainer. Just tell me which option, and I'll figure out which one and send you the money, right? That's how it becomes so easy, right? So, if you're ready to really like have like fulfill the dreams of being the woman who's like on stage, right? She's out there, she's shining, She is showing so deeply this is what is so fully for you. This program makes that possible. We have this initiation and this rite of passage that happens in the program where you develop your talk. And I'm going to talk more about that, but it is an initiation. It's a rite of passage where you get to meet the woman who you know is in there that you can trust to show up in these high intensity situations to share your message so that you can go out there and be free. You know, we look at people who are like, wow, they're out there like just all the time sharing stage, speaking. I want to be that. How do we get that? We oftentimes have to go through some kind of initiation experience where we become that person. And that's part of the art of what we do. Right. So if you want to have sales become so much easier and make so much more money in your work, right? So that you can enjoy your lifestyle so much more. Take more vacations with your family, your friends. I don't know, like get that like 200 bottle of face cream you've been thinking about but putting off on. I don't know, like buy the really expensive supplements or the shoes or whatever the desires are that you have, so you can invest for your future elder self so she has an amazing quality of life, right? Like I want to support you in having that experience of being able to look at your life and know that every so much of what you've created in your life, what is it, the home you buy, right? The trips you take, the quality of life that you have, whatever it is that you look around, you're like, my wisdom did that. My wisdom did that. I want to support you in having that experience. So this is what we are going to be getting into. So I'm going to talk you through how this works. So the first piece in the Legends Mastermind that we get into is the alignment. All right. So getting you totally aligned with your what is most alive that is coming through you right now. It is your zone of genius. It's the thing that is your legendary energy, really and truly, and getting you so aligned from this place so that you have that unstoppable energy, so that you have that momentum, so you have so much fun, like you are in your creative joy, right? And deepening into the deep joy of that alignment and having so you can create that momentum, right? That's the first piece. The second piece is that we help you to get clear on your message, right? So from that alignment, what is the message? What are the ideas? What's the idea that's at the heart of your message now? What is it that is just absolutely the thing that people can know you by? They think of your name and they think of this idea and what you stand for and what you're about, right? That kind of association is so powerful. That's what creates so much incredible invitations, opportunities, and those people who are like, I got to work with that person, right? The no brainer investments. The more we double down on that, it builds trust, right? But it's also providing deep value and you're shifting the world and you're making the impact. So we help you to get that clarity, right? The next thing that we really work on is helping you to really get clear on from that place, what is the offer? Maybe you have an existing offer and we need to tweak it so that it's just the thing that you wake up in the morning and you're like, yes, I want to go sell today. I'm so excited. I believe in this so much. It's so good. It's so world class. That's the thing that I'm a stand for. Like, we're not creating subpar, we're creating world class. How do we create a world class offer, right? That you become known for. People even think of you and they think of your epic offer, right? It's like a vibe. It is a vibe to be part of, whatever that is, right? And and helping you to make it so outstanding that you are in the full value of it, that you can have these turned on sales conversations where there is no self-doubt, there is no funkiness, because you know how valuable this is and you know the transformation it makes possible and you can lead from that place, right? So whether it's sales conversations, online events like this, stage conversations, when you really own the value of your offer, everything becomes possible, but you got to create it. And it's an art form, creating an offer that is just really world class, right? And that's a big piece of what we do in this program, is help you to have that and develop that. The next piece we work with you on is your embodied communication, right? You can have the most amazing content. We've talked about this. You can have the most amazing content, but if people can't feel you, it's flat. But you can stand in front of a room and not say a word and open that entire room. That's the kind of speaker we train you to be. That's the kind of leader we train you to be. Remember, Kara was talking about that space. In that space is everything, it's your essence. It's your the ownership of the value of what you do. It's your stand, it's your vision. All of it is pregnant in that, and we help you to embody that, right? There's so much stuff out there in the world now. And more and more as AI becomes stronger and stronger and stronger, people are going to vet for what is more and more real that they choose to invest with. It's going to get crazy deep. Like, I have a lot to say about this topic, but you being fully you, you feeling safe to be fully you and in your body and in your message, you being the full essence of who you are is the thing that people are going to pay to be around and trust, right? It's the embodiment. So we're going to teach you to be a world-class, legendary, fully embodied, brilliant, captivating speaker. That's what happens for women that come through our work. Yeah, we talk about like Jess Michaels, terrified. And now it's like she gets calls like all the time. CNN, yeah, they love her. They love her, right? They love her because she comes on and she shares a message every time. That is, it's not just the story. It's that she has a shift in perspective that adds value to the conversation. She has a shift in perspective that adds value to the listenership. When you go out and listen to her interview with Katie Couric, it is literally the talk that she wrote in our mastermind program, but done in an interview format. And they call her and ask her to come back. They want her to come. Other news sources hear her speak because she stands for something that shifts people's minds open. It's so valuable to have her come and speak. Plus, she is embodied. She feels safe now to talk about her experience when she came into our world. But that is the power of what we do. All right. So that's a huge piece. The next piece in this that happens is the talk. We help you to write your talk. Writing the talk of where your message is now, right? You may have had other talks that you do, but where's your aliveness now? What is the talk now that is so pregnant with you and the just the calling and the genius and the wisdom? What is this now? When you write your talk and you give it at we have like both ways that we do it in this program. We do something every it's once a quarter. It's the Legends Disco. It's the Legends Disco. And it is where we come and we do what we do best because we are women who have fun in this work. We are not like, we are dressing up, we are having fun, we're dancing, and we love to give talks that make people laugh and cry and can't help it. But that is what our culture is about. We cheer our faces off for each other, right? That's what we do. It is so fun and it is so transformative. And change. Women change in this environment. It's incredible. They they meet a whole part of themselves that they never knew was there, but maybe they dreamed of. And then the reality and the dream collide, and all of a sudden, she is her. And that changes her whole life from that place, right? Her work, the trajectory of her work, right? That moment that Kiara talked about, she got up and shared, and we were so moved. That's the kind of listening we bring. And she found that, and that thing that she found opened the doorway to, I mean, 2.9 million just this year, and the year's not even over. Like all the stuff, TV shows, like epic, epic, epic stuff. That is like the kind of self discovery and self trust. We help you to become that woman in this environment. So you are writing this talk, and then you are giving it. We're celebrating you. It's a whole thing. It's a whole big thing, right? Some people come to Sedona and give their talk big on stage. I'll talk about that in a little bit, right? And that's a life changer, epic experience, right? But regardless, that's a big piece of what you develop in this program. And then what that makes possible is that you are the process of writing your talk forces the full understanding of how your message fits and weaves together that blows people open. It's a genius art form. And when you learn it with us, you will know then how to do it not only on a stage, but how to then go on podcasts and be absolutely epic. You're going to know how to lead a one-to-many sales event where the whole lead in is your story, right? And people are just like, she's the one. She's the one, right? You're going to be able to get interviewed like Jess Michaels on CNN or Katie Couric or MSNBC, all the things. And you use what we taught because we know and you are so trained in understanding the shifts in perspectives that truly blow people open. That is your value as a thought leader, or mind opening, heart opening, expansive ideas and shifts in perspectives and sharing them in a way that people are riveted, right? So we help train you to be an epic storyteller. Epic storyteller, right? So much to say about that. Next week, we are going so deep into storytelling and as a form of driving sales. So bookmark that. But that's a huge piece of the kind of speaker and leader we teach you to be. And writing the talk is the exercise that's going to set you free to be so prepared to go out and just be the kind of person they're like, that was one of the best interviews we have ever done. Thank you so much for coming on my show. Can you come back next month? That happens for so many of our people, right? That's the kind of speaker we teach you to be. Now, from this place, we help you to then, after that initial period, it's all about setting the stage, getting the talk ready, clarifying the message, your offers ready. Then you're ready to like fucking go for it. And that's where we support you in this next level of going for it. We help you to create a really clear funnel for people into your work, right? Really clear funnel that is rooted in what is most pleasurable for you, right? None of this doing shit anymore that drains you. If you're into making like amazing looking reels and spend your time to it, excellent. That is like a really high value thing to do out there. If you're like, that is like pulling my hair out, don't do it. There are other things to do that you can pull people in. We help you, we do it like intensives in this, like so we do quarterly deep dives. I'm going to talk more about this. We do quarterly deep dives where we like the one that's coming up on the offer is one. We do it where we go and pitch. We get together and we have a party, and you're all prepared with your pitch letters for podcast and stage. And my coaching to you is to go out there and put yourself out there, pitch, go for the big stuff, right? Just be outrageous. Go for the things. Go for the things. The industry conferences. Go if you want to go and like the women's organization at Microsoft, like all these places, whatever it is, we want to support you going for it. And when you have a concentrated time, that's the only thing you're doing, and you're in community of other women who are doing it too, and you're cheering each other on, you're going to be, can't you feel like you could be a lot more bold and be a lot more fun? I'm like, I'm gonna do it by myself. Da, 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 da. And you create a whole vibe around it. It changes how you communicate in your pitch letters. It changes how in your emails. It's filled with life. And so that's one of the big things we're going to teach you in the next part of in the second half of the program to just go for it. And we provide training and context, teach you how to land speaking engagements, how to make it fun, how to go for big stuff because we're not playing small, we're legends, and how to also create consistent ways of getting your voice out there on social media in a way that's really aligned and true for you, right? You'll notice for me, a lot of mine is around storytelling. I love to write. I lean into that. A lot of my guidance is just write, tell stories, and that works really well for me. There's some other things that I'm gearing up to do in 2026 that I'm really excited about. That I'm going to push my creative edges, but they turn me on, right? I'm leaning into it. It's going to be work, but we're going to help you create what that is for you, as well as developing your opt-in lead funnel, right? So when you're out there speaking, we have a way for people to come into your funnel so that you can then have da, 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 turned on sales conversations. So I'm going to train you to be fucking amazing at selling. Okay. Like, I don't think you understand. Like, this is my job. Like, this is like clearly what my life force is devoted to right now. I've received the assignment. My job is to help you be epic at selling and make so much money with your wisdom. And when you have gone through getting clear on your message, you're out there sharing it, becoming known for your work, you're embodying this energy. I'm going to teach you the things to be able to not only have great one on one conversations, but to lead epic live virtual masterclasses. Right? I want to support you in being out there leading masterclasses often, speaking on stage virtually of your own design often. And to be epic at leading those, whether it's one day, whether they're 3 day ones, whether you want to do a 21-day challenge like I'm doing, right? I'm going to teach you to be epic at that, right? I want to see you really rock it and take everything that you're making financially with your work to a whole other level. And the secret around that really is selling, becoming awesome at selling. And by the time you arrive, where we're going to really doing the deep dive to get you out there and doing this, you're going to be so like, I own my message. I own my shit. My message is it helps. My message is genius. I own it. I'm feeling it. I can't wait to sell. Like we work with you on the energetics, like you're going to be just like humming and being so excited to do these things, to spread your message and fulfill the calling. Because I know every single person here has a calling, right? And that there is a next level potential that we can go to. And that's my job, is to support you and really spreading that message, becoming known for it, shifting culture with it, and getting highly well paid. That is really the heart of what we're doing in this program, is to set you up. So even just like 1 year, right? 1 year, just 1 year, 1 year, so much can change in 1 year, right? The whole trajectory of your work, your impact, the money you're making, but most of all, who you are, right? So there's a couple of other key pieces that happen in here, in addition to learn to sell like a queen, right? Vitality is so important. It's so important. It's the centerpiece of everything I do. So it's a huge piece of what we're going to be focusing on in this work, is your vitality. It's got to be, right? It's also your radiance, your magnetism, your life force. We are working to help you cultivate this so that you're just this magnetic. You can't look away. You're just so alive. People are so alive, and people are hungry to experience what is truly alive. And it will continue to be more and more. My job is to train you to be that fully, to be that woman who is standing on the stage. You don't even say a word. And people are like, damn, wow, 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 okay, right? That's what we can create for ourselves and with our work, being that kind of leader. That's the energy of the legend. Yeah. And then finally is this community. Oh, God, the community is really everything, right? And we are, with Woman Speaks Work, if you've heard anything about our work, you've been around, if you've heard anything about it, we're just really well known for our community and what we create. Deep psychological and emotional safety with women. A lot of stuff between women, old stuff gets healed in our work. So we really get high off seeing each other fly and each other's brilliance. It's really amazing. And so women really expand so quickly in our containers. And it's so much more fun when you have friends like that. People go on to be epic friends, all the things. It's just so fulfilling having community like that, but it's also the secret sauce that makes things just go further so much faster, really and truly. And it's my job to always continue to put myself in environments where I've had that in my life too. In times where I haven't, stuff has been harder. Times where I do, things are way more fun, right? And there's so much more energy for it. So we create this for you in this community. So my promise to you, in this work, I mean, the underlying promise of this whole program, I'm here to help create rich, wise women, and see your ideas change our world, because I know all of you have the deepest medicine inside you, and make sure you're well paid doing it. So all of this and the way we've set it up, it's not my first rodeo. It's not my first rodeo. I've been doing this for a long time. This is a method that I have perfected over the years and continues to evolve and deepen and become more awesome. And it's designed to help you really collapse time, between um, the knowing that you have that you're being called forward deeply, right? To really spread your message in a powerful way, to really shift culture with your work, and to take the lid off of what you're making financially, right? This is designed to collapse that time. And it's like, there's like this analogy of, if you want to get across the Atlantic, right? You can take a boat. A boat is always an option. You know, you can take a boat, could take weeks, might be some storms. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing taking the boat. It could get you there eventually, but it's a whole thing. Or you can take the Concorde, right? You can take the super jet. You can take the super jet, right? And here's the thing. It's like, we can renew money, but we cannot renew time. Cannot renew time. One of my mentors said something I loved about this. She talked about how, hardly anybody would trade their life for Warren Buffett's life. He's in his like 90s, even though he has billions. Would you trade your life for Warren Buffett's life? Like he doesn't have that much longer for all that money. We wouldn't. We wouldn't do that because time is not renewable. You can always go out and create money. Yeah, I'm going to teach you ways to do that with your work and your wisdom and your offers, but you can't renew time, right? And it's like you could still be sitting here next year with this dream. It's still sitting in your heart, right? Calling you and not fully feeling into that full potential, right? Or you get on the Concorde, you can get on the super jet and get there so much faster and be realizing the dreams like we talked about, like with Kiara, Jess Michaels, friend Sarah. I mean, all these different people I've talked with, there's so many more examples of this, right? And that's what, I think that there's this sort of like energy of someone who's like, yeah, like this is what I'm here to do. I don't want to waste any time. I'm serious about this. I'm all in. There's some people it's like, I don't know, maybe later. I'm not ready yet. But if there's like someone that has that fire inside of that knowing that's what I'm here to do, what I have to offer you is a super jet. All right. So um I I think that so basically let me walk you through just the logistics of how it works. All right. So I'm going to share so you can see here. Let me get into this, pulling it down. All right. So this is the sales page. You can spend time on it. I'm going to go ahead and get down to this place in it where you can see what is what's included. Okay. So essentially, what we have here, and I mean, I get to this part here where this is okay. Great. So you have the Mastermind Hot Seat Coaching with me twice a month. All right. So 2 times per month, these are hot seat calls. They're anywhere from 90 minutes to 2 hours. I go so deep with you on whatever it is that's needed, right? It's your messaging, it's the energetics, it's the identity work, it's the business strategy, it's selling, it's whatever is the most alive thing that's going to help you get to that next piece for you, all right, in your work. All right. And we also do seasonal deep dive immersions. So, seasonal, I mean quarterly, right? So, 4 times a year, we're gathering for a 2-day deep dive immersion. I've already told you about a couple, right? Where like we have working on the, like for 2 days, it's like 2.5 hours each day, right? Really clarifying your offer and making it world class and that you can't wait to get up and sell this thing, right? Or it's landing speaking engagements where we get together and we party and we go pitch and we go and land epic opportunities to share our messages and we do it concentrated for 2 days. Right. Or a major masterclass, perhaps in like really learning how to sell powerfully in like a 3-day masterclass, how to translate amazing sales, make it high conversion, like how to have it be a full expression of you and make it amazing, how to practice speaking, so much practice with your sales and speaking and running these major group live event master classes where you're selling groups of people into your programs, your offers, right? So those are some examples of deep dive immersions that we do. All right. And so we're going to do one of those every quarter. All right. Now I've gone through actually with these and like took a calculator and a pen and paper and really tried to estimate, okay, what is the value of this for like 12 months? All right. So it's like here, it's like I'm really like I think that's like, that time in a group setting, 24 of those in a year, it's like about 30,000 K in value. Deep dive immersions, about 35K in value to come in and spend all that deep loaded time. I mean, at least, right? Then we have the quarterly Legends disco parties, right? And these are just going to be so fun, so fun. All right. So the quarterly Legend disco parties, I already talked with you a bit about it, but this is where we're going to come together and we come together in the fullness of what our community is about, which is celebrating each other, having fun, dancing, and telling epic stories, giving epic talks, and cheering for each other. These are major rites of passage. They're so bonding. They're so rich and filled with joy and emotion, and they're one of a kind. There's nothing like what we do in Women Speaks work in that capacity. All right. Then you're going to have weekly speaking and messaging calls. So every week, you are going to have a call with either me or one of my top trainers. All right. And I've got a couple of top trainers who are world class. Like they're the people who've worked with helping Jessica Michael get to where she is, or Kiara get to where she is. You know, I mean, like I only work have like the most top people come in and support in this, and it's one a week. So you got like 6 calls a month, 6 calls a month that are devoted to supporting you. And these ones alternate. So one week it's speaking, and you're up and speaking and practicing your speaking and learning our practices and our energy practices and really practicing, right? And that can be for your talk, for elements of your message, for your selling, right? It's speaking. That's all speaking. So it's practicing that, having a place to practice, get coaching, get refinement, all right? And then messaging. Those are more of the calls where we're going deep and really going in deep. What is the message? How does the message fit and weave together? We're working towards your talk, right? We're working towards creating your talk. This is some of the deep dive of where we do that work. One thing that's not in here that I want to say that I did forget to list is that you do have accountability buddies. So I want to always match you with women to make new epic friendships, but also a place where you get more practice. So we rotate your partners every month, and those are small group, you know, sometimes like 4 people at the most, all right, where you're rotating every month and meeting 1 call a month, sometimes 2 if y'all are all available and into it, all right, but at least once. So, and that's the community, right? The community is epic. The community is so epic, right? So, you also are going to get, and this is not listed in here, but you also are going to get um, access to my Velvet Flow Feminine Qigong live practice community. I teach live every week a feminine Qigong class, and feminine Qigong is an extraordinary practice for cultivating deep vitality, a nervous system that feels like velvet, so deep internal safety, cultivating your essence, supporting you in really being just uber radiant and safe and free to be yourself and feeling amazing. It's the backbone of my life. And I want to make that available to everybody in this to be able to come and do that. So that will also be included as well. Plus, you're going to get access to every program I have ever created, every single one. All right. So these are things like the Woman Speak Accelerator with all my landing speaking engagements, materials, and trainings, the magic of the tiny ebook, where you get to learn how to write your tiny ebook about your story and like some serious value you provide in your work and run ads or organic marketing to that to build your email list. That has built, oh my gosh, so much money for me. It's been amazing. And for my clients that have implemented it, it's been an incredible opt in. We teach you how to do that, learn the dynamics of what it really takes to develop women's thought leadership, right? Speak Up for Your Business has all my speaking training practices, right? Velvet Flow intensives that I've done to help you cultivate this deep energy of deep internal safety and vibrancy and radiance. That and more than even's listed on the screen. You're going to get all of that. All right. So the total value of all this, and we priced it all together, was like over $150,000, right? It's a lot. It's a lot. But let me ask you, like, actually, would that be like $150,000? Like, actually, would that like be worth it? You know, when you look at like what Kiara has gone on to create, you know, now she's like, you know, $2.9 million a year. When you look at like what's happened with Jess Michaels and her work, and she's gone on to create just epic amounts of money with I'm sorry, epic amounts of fundraising for her app and successful done the fundraising for this business venture, right? And all of the income that makes possible. You think about like my client Sarah Jenks, you know, who took the time to plug in, reevaluate, get clear on the message, get out there and share it. And through her work, very quickly in a span of like 2 years, created $2 million recurring membership for her program with all organic marketing and just her sharing her message. You know, and for me, I've made millions off of the things that everything that you're seeing here. 150K kind of starts to sound like actually it's kind of, yeah, it's kind of reasonable, right? But I'm not going to charge you 150K. All right. So in Legends, we have 2 tiers of how we can do this program and this work, right? So the first is the 12-month program with everything I've talked about is $18,000 a year. It's $18,000, right? And um, and it's this is, you know, but when you're here in the Turn Down Sales Challenge, like in my service of like, I mean, I've done the sales challenge like for free because I want to reach more people. I want to establish connecting with more women. I mean, that is like the essence of, because I'm so committed and I'm on my job of spreading this message to so many women. But like, people pay like $40,000, 40 something thousand dollars to come and do private client work with me, and you would get from private client work, a lot of this transformation, but there's so much more that's here than I could even do in like a week with you. There's so much more. So when you compare it to like a $40,000 private client work, 18,000, actually for so much more, frankly, like epic value training, constant weekly calls, it's it's clear to see like there's just a lot of value that's there, but I want to make this even more, um like a hell yes, basically, for you. If you're like, yeah, this is what I want to spread my message, I want to become known, I want it to feel fucking good, and I want to make so much more money doing it. Like, I want the support. I see this as the vehicle that this can take me there. I'm in it, I want to do it. Like, I want to make this a no-brainer for you. So for just the women who are in the Turn Down Sales Challenge, during this challenge, you can do the Legends Mastermind for 13,900 for the full 12 months. All right, the full 12 months. So that is the first level one. The second level is to come do the Legend Mastermind live. All right. And this is a full week long. It's everything that we've covered that you receive. Everything that we've covered that we've received. And you get a full week long retreat to go so deep in the embodiment of being an epic legend in your communication and speaking, to clear out the cobwebs of those fears of rejection and all that stuff and arrive at a completely different place energetically. And to give your talk at our big live event that we do. First one that I've done since COVID. I've done these so many over the years, and they are epic and they are life and career changers, and they are so beautiful. And we're doing our next one in Sedona. May. It's the event is on the 15th of May, and the retreat is the 11th to the 16th. And we only have 6 spots remaining. I already have some women who've signed up. This is just, Kira did our live mastermind, spoke on stage. This is it's one of the most beautiful things that I do in my work. And when I look back and when I die, I'll be like those flashing moments, I'll be like, oh, those women speak events, they're so beautiful, epic, right? That's how they are. And they really change the course of women's careers. So the full value of all of that is 210,000 for everything that's in the Legends program, plus the live retreat, plus speaking on stage. But for this, it's 30,000 a year. All right, it's 30,000 a year. But for women who are in the Turn Down Sales Challenge, it will be 22,000. All right, so 22,000 all in for the mastermind plus coming to speak on stage event. All right. So this is, and I'm going to do like a short recap for you of like everything that's here. So you're super clear. All right. You're going to get the biweekly hot seat mentorship calls with me. All right. So you can get epic, laser, intimate coaching with me on the regular on whatever's happening in your business and your work. Right. Help you up level, expand, right? And also be witness to where I'm coaching other women. That sometimes is like the most epic coaching is the things that's happening with other women. You're like, oh my God, that just shifted everything for me. All right, so you're gonna get that. All right, then you're gonna get the biweekly hot seat mentorship calls with me. Plus, you're gonna get the biweekly Woman Speak speaker training and practice sessions. Right, so that's twice a month speaking, so that you become so epic in your speaking, so that you really embody the fullness of who you are. You feel safe and you're just like the magnetic, authentic, essence filled speaker. And you feel free and confident, right? Whether this is so that you're super prepared for talks, so that you're super prepared for podcasts, so that you're super prepared also for your selling events. This is a place where we get to support and train and work with you. Then you get, right, you get the biweekly hot seat mentorship calls, the biweekly speaker training calls, plus biweekly Woman Speak messaging coaching sessions, right? This is with me and my top trainers where we go deep on your message to help you really refine that aligned message you can get out there and really become known for your work and develop messaging that actually shifts culture, that really has you be that person that people can't wait, to have on their news show or to come speak on their stage, right? Or that person that people are like, I got to work with you, and ease the sell. Right? That's what we're going to do in there. So you got your biweekly hot seat mentorship calls, you got your biweekly speaker training practice sessions, you got your biweekly woman speak messaging coaching sessions with me, and then you also have quarterly legends disco parties. All right? It's where you're going to come, party, deep bonds and community, and give epic talks. All right? This is where it all comes into fruition. And so epic is where we shift who we are. Right? So fun. So we've got the hot seat coaching, speaking practice, messaging coaching, quarterly legends disco parties, and quarterly deep dive business visibility, landing speaking engagement, and selling intensives. Right? Then we've got bi-weekly hot seat mentorship calls, the speaker training, the messaging coaching, the legends disco parties, the deep dive calls, and then you've got the vault of all my programs, right? All my programs, including every week coming and practicing feminine qigong with me, all right? To help you so that you can have this epic vitality as you're out there doing this work, so that you can have this magnetic rainy, so you feel so safe to be fully you out there rocking it, right? All this. So this is the deal. This is the deal, yo. All right. I'm going to put in here into the chat the page. So you can go and see this information here. And I've got a couple of bonuses for you. All right. Bonuses are great. Bonuses are great. So if you decide to do Legends and pay in full, either option with the live or with the year long without the live, the full, the trademark amazing program that is for you, 13,900, and you pay in full, you'll get a private session with me. Okay. Or if you do the live work, if you pay in full, you get a private session. You can also do a payment plan. All right. We have payment plans available as well if you need to do a payment plan. So that is number one. Number two is that if you decide in the next 48 hours to apply, like we apply, you send your application in, right? We end up having our calls, but as you get your application in the next 48 hours, right? And then we'll have a call, a sales call. Then what's going to happen is that you're going to get two amazing bonuses. Right? So the first bonus is that you will get, we're going to provide for you when this challenge is done, our entire system, our entire funnel, all of the emails, everything for how we ran this 21-day challenge. So you can do your own 21-day challenge, right? 21-day challenges, 15-day challenges, 30-day challenges, whatever it is so, it's like, they say now that in order for people to invest with you, they have to hear like an insane amount of hours of content from you, right? And really experience you. And so that's why one of the reasons of doing podcasts is really great. It's long form content. People really they need to spend time with you to invest, you know? And so this is a great model that you can use for doing any length of challenge, whether it's 7-day, 14-day, 30-day, and we're going to give you the entire funnel for how we have done it so you can use it for your own business and all of the email script copy, everything. It'll ease your life so much. So you can go out and do this too. Okay. Number two, you're going to get private Voxer access in a small group for the women who say yes and put in an application in the next 48 hours. It'll be a small group of women. You'll get a small group coaching with me for 1 month on Voxer, right? And that is short form. You send in like short form questions. If you don't know what Voxer is, it's a walkie-talkie voice memo app. And you can send in like, 2-minute like spot laser coaching and I respond to you. I provide coaching to you. It's an amazing way to support you and really entering into this experience in the mastermind, having some deep focused support to help you arrive perhaps at that deep alignment, right? Really getting clear on that alignment or that initial clarity to support you, right? So this is a really big piece of what I believe will really help make your first entry into the program get you off on an amazing footing, right? So that's for 1 month. We're gonna have our own little private chat group where I'm going to provide laser coaching. I love doing voice memos in case you couldn't tell if you're in the WhatsApp group. I love it. So those are the two bonuses when you join in the next when you apply in the next 48 hours. All right. So this is what we've got. And this is my invitation to you is to really shorten that time distance. Like, what are you waiting for? Right? To claim the possibility of the impact that you're going to make with the message you know that you've been called to make, to create more than that, but to have a movement around your work and your message, right? To have such a good time doing it, like to really have an awesome, awesome time, an awesome experience, right? Feel turned on, switched on, make it more fun than maybe you've ever had in doing your work, and feel good, feel vital, feel rested, feel resourced, and to make a lot of money from your ideas. And I will teach you how and help you become epic at not only getting out there and sharing your message, but also selling people into your offers and your programs. So this is my love note to you. I want to open up and see, and thank you for all of you for staying on. I know you're like diehards. It's awesome. Open up for any questions. Like, what questions do you have about anything in the program, anything in the offer? What questions have you got? You can put it in the chat. So my stand for you is you got to arrive at a decision that is like really true for you, because it is a big decision. And it should be one that you feel awesome about. So any questions, concerns, considerations that you want to chat about, you can put it in the chat. We can take a few minutes to talk about them. I feel like I may see some people typing. Okay, what are the payment plans? Also, I'm percolating on an offer. Would you help with that in the interim? In the interim. So I'm not sure what you mean by in the interim, but if you're talking about the offer is so yes, the application, you click apply now on the sales page and it'll take you right into the application. And then I will, if we decide to move forward with your application, we'll reach out to do a sales call. Awesome. So yes, so so we actually are having an offer deep dive, like a deep dive intensive on creating your like genius world-class offer that you're just like over the moon about next. So it's like it's like right after Thanksgiving. So it's right after this challenge ends. So that's the thing you're going to be like rolling right into. You won't even have to wait to get that support. So that's there. When does this start and end? It starts now. It's already started. I already have women in our mastermind. And so the process is you apply and then we have a sales conversation. If we move forward to a sales conversation, we have a sales conversation. And then if you're accepted, you enroll and you get plugged in right away into our community, into our curriculum, into the pathway. So it's right there. Are the two bonuses if you decide within 48 hours? No, it's only if you apply. So, so the two bonuses you will get when you apply in the next 48 hours, all right? Because we've got to go through application, set up sales calls. So if you get accepted and we do our sales call and you decide to join, even if it's after the 48 hours, because you applied in the 48 hours, you'll get the two bonuses. Let me know if that doesn't make sense. And pay in full. So then if you pay in full, you'll get the two bonuses and you'll get the private session with me. Yes, great. Where is it that payment plans are listed? In the sales call. Yes, we go over all that information in the sales call. And so there are payment plans. Basically, it's, and I have it. Where do I have it? It is actually in the application. I wrote it in the application for you. So when you go and apply and you go through, you'll see in the application, there's the full price for the program, and then there's the price for women in this challenge, and what the payment plan option is for both the Legends Mastermind and the Legends Mastermind Live for the pricing that's specific for women in the challenge. It's in the application. In the sales call, I don't see payment plans for what you're offering. I'm not sure, Robin, I want to understand your question. Maybe help me understand that a little bit more. Let me see if there are any other questions that I'm missing here. In the application, I don't see, you don't, but not the lower. Oh, that's weird. Let me see what happened there. So let me address that. I'll fix that right after this call. I'll take a look at it and see what it is. It should have it, but it should have it. So I'm going to go in and fix that right after this call. But essentially, I can actually tell you right now, let me just pull this up, what the payment plans are. Let's just take a look at it. So payment plans are okay. All right, so payment plans are, okay. So for the Legends Mastermind, full pay is $13,900. Or you can do 12 payments of $1,233. So there is a little bit of a price break for paying in full, which is pretty usual. I want to support those people that pay in full. Or you can do it in 12 months, $1,233 per month. That is for the Legends Mastermind. Then we have the Legends Mastermind Live. All right. So this one is, so it's 22,000 for pay in full. All right. And then we do have there is a bigger upfront first payment because of locking in the space for the live event and holding that space. So it is a $5,000 deposit or initial payment. All right, initial payment. All right, and then it's 11 payments of 1,636. All right, so that's so 5,000 and then 11 payments of 1,636, and that's for the Legends Live. All right, awesome, great questions. Any other questions? Do I offer scholarships? No, we don't offer scholarships. Not in this program. There is so much value that's given, and coaches we're paying and all kinds of things. So we don't offer scholarships for this program. All right. Any other questions? Feel free to put in here. Thank you for all of you who stayed on. It's a joy to be with you. I would love to be in the WhatsApp group. I would love to be in the, should I just pop you an email? Oh, in the WhatsApp. Yes, just send us an email and we can send you support@womenspeak.com. Great. All right. Awesome, ladies. Thank you so much. And we will be sending this out as well in an email, all the information and the links. And thank you so much for being here. Such a stand for all of you. Mwah. All right. And I'll see you next week on our third call. All right. Bye, everyone.